Morning, Tim. I need Florida back. This playing in the wind crap's getting a little old.
This West Texas golf is not appealing to you?
Don't need to be hitting 7-iron from 140, 130. Jesus.
I was a really good bad weather player.
I'm a fine bad weather player. I am not a great wind player. I hit the ball really high, and I can't, the old phrase, when it's breezy, swing easy. I have trouble into the wind doing that.
And I could do it, and for whatever reason, even though I scooped on my normal shot and hit it pretty high, I had a certain place it, near my back foot, and I could hit down on 3s and 5-irons, for whatever reason, I could pull that shot off.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Hope your week is going well, and thanks for having us be a part of it. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just quickly, thank you to everybody that reached out yesterday. I don't want to dwell on it. Enough of that yesterday. It was a very emotional day for me. You can't understand how much your comments and emails and all the things you did meant to me. Thank you very much. But no, good day yesterday. Like I told you before the show, I've had enough of this wind down here. I get to play golf a little bit, getting a little over it. Just saying.
So you don't like your West Texas golf experience that's happening?
I live in Florida, shorts and a golf shirt. This layers crap for the birds.
Is playing the 6-iron off the back of your foot and, just kind of punching it, not the way you want to play golf, is what you're saying?
Not really. Little, in the chilliness, it's like, come on now. But I had to laugh. It's not, David, you and I we're not the sharpest bulbs all the time,
No, we're not the brightest and the sharpest. No, we're not.
But we're sharper. The gal that works next to me from one of the stations just got back today. She was gone yesterday. I'm like, and Monday. And Monday, this building had the day off. We don't. We never do. But she, on purpose, went to Chicago on vacation for her birthday for 4 days.
In January.
Correct. And she said to me, and I quote, well, it's 50-50 this time of year there. What the? It's January.
Are we talking temperature and wind? What does 50-50 mean?
Right. It's either, I grew up in Michigan. There was 2 different types of weather from November until about April. Gray and dark gray. That's it.
Cold and colder?
Right.
I mean,
goodness gracious.
What was the 50-50 again? But
yeah.
It's a great American city, though. It is.
Yeah, in July.
Great eats. Okay, always things to do. But not sure. As a travel agent, I think I'd rather sell June and July than January. I do. But okay. All right.
But some coaching hires happening, a lot of interviews happening.
Come on. Seriously? Is that where you're going to start? Okay. Who are you doing the show with? Who are you co-hosting a show with?
Mr. Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I mean, seriously. Was there a draft last night? No. Was there a trade deadline last night? No. But do you know what there was last night, Mark? There was a Hall of Fame announcement.
Go get him.
That's my gold, silver, and bronze right there.
Go get him.
A trade deadline. All right. A draft. a Hall of Fame announcement. And they vary as to who's winning gold and silver and bronze year to year, moment to moment.
So what, two members elected. Andrew Jones, very happy about that, by the way.
Yeah, first off, he's the best defensive center fielder since Willie Mays. And that's saying something because Ken Griffey Jr. was amazing. But, seriously, he was the best defensive center fielder in 50 years. And he hit over 400 home runs.
Thank goodness for that, because they don't seem to care about defense the way they once did.
No.
It's not part of the game. And I know it is. I think you baseball folks understand what I mean. It's just, it doesn't get the credit that it once did.
No.
Ozzie Smith wouldn't start today. He didn't hit enough home runs.
No, right, because, Omar Vizquel's not getting the votes because of, he apparently beat up women. And so the baseball writers are, holding that against him for the character clause. And if it was in football, Omar Vizquel would be in the Hall of Fame. He would have.
But baseball does say character matters.
Yes.
You can't say that flippantly, because, and I know you're not, because it's important to you, and I don't think you would vote for him because of that.
And Carlos Beltran gets in as well. Switch hitter, probably, for his day, probably next to Chipper Jones, I'd say the best switch hitter, in a 30-year period in baseball. His postseason numbers are obscene, by the way. If 2,700 hits and 450 homers and 300 plus steals, and if that's not Hall of Fame worthy, his postseason numbers are top 5 all time.
Hang on, I want to get ready for this.
Nope. Right. Well, there you go. But
for those of you on radio, I was hitting a garbage can. Letting him know it's a fastball.
But he was the bench coach, right? Or he was part of the 2017 Astros.
Well, he was named the central figure in the cheating scandal. He was, I think, the only one named in the commissioner's report, right?
Cost him the Mets managerial job. He got it. He was the manager for, I don't know how many days, 6 weeks or something like that. But they hired him as manager, and then the report came out, and then they said, we can't do this. By the way, I do think he will be the manager of the Mets or Yankees within the next 5 years. I do. But here's what I found interesting. Since the song from back in the day, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, there was like DiMaggio, there was Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Duke Snyder. Okay. And then, Mark, do you know until last night, in the 50 years, because Willie Mays last year was 73. Mickey's last year was, I think, 68. So since Mays retired, in 50 years, do you know how many center fielders made the Hall of Fame? 2.
All right.
Kirby Puckett, Ken Griffey Jr. Now, Trout's going to make it, and he started as a center fielder. He's going to play the majority of his career there. He doesn't play it anymore. And I'm assuming there will be others. But, it was interesting if you just go back and you go, wow, really? For 50 years, there's virtually no center fielders that were Hall of Fame worthy. And until last night, no, it was Puckett and it was Ken Griffey Jr. And they were slam dunks. There was no thought involved there. In fact, you have to ask the question why Griffey wasn't unanimous. But so I thought that's the other significant part of last night. And as you mentioned, and if you want to bang on the drum, and you could do that, by the way, anytime we go this topic today.
Okay, good. I'll keep it close by.
Yeah, anytime, if by chance I even reference it, if you just want to grab it and start banging on it, I think it's appropriate. But here's why I think you banging on the drum actually is significant. Because you know how when there's a guy who either is tied to performance-enhancing drugs or more than tied to it, and they get in the Hall of Fame, and you go, is that going to open up the door for ... Well, you wonder then, okay, like, does Carlos Beltran getting in get Jose Altuve in, if you know what I mean? Because Beltran, I would argue, a better player than Altuve, but Altuve is threatening to post Hall of Fame numbers. And obviously he has his postseason heroics that he can throw up on there. And by the way, Beltran, I don't believe, was a player on those Astros teams. He was part of the dugout, right? Or was he still a player? Because this was his 4th year of eligibility. So that might have been like the very end of his playing career.
Now I have to look.
But that to me is the significant part of it. Because, there were a few good guys on that Astros run. But Altuve probably, does this not held against Bregman going forward? If Bregman ends up being a serious Hall of Fame candidate, which I don't think he will. I think
17 was his last year, by the way.
Last year, okay. So that to me is, that I think this bodes well for Jose Altuve.
And that's down the road because
Yes.
I will say this, David. When you look, one of the things you've and others pay attention to is how many votes other guys who don't get in get. Well, Andrew Jones and Beltran get in. Chase Utley, 59% of the vote. That's a long way from getting in by the baseball writers. And he's the next highest vote. Pettit only got 48.5%.
Right.
Felix Hernandez, 46%, for what it's worth.
Yeah, and Pettit's been on the ballot for a good while. So Pettit's not going to get there. I said it earlier this year. Chase Utley's going to get there. And I have a feeling that it's going to be, Mark, what you experienced with Whitaker and Trammell, where Trammell got in and for whatever reason Whitaker didn't and still hasn't, right? Although his numbers, quite frankly, compared to other second basemen, are clearly Hall of Fame worthy. And Mark, I think it's going to be the same thing with Utley and Rollins. That I think Utley's going to get in and Rollins isn't. And I think people are then going to start making the case of, seriously?
Yeah, 25% of the vote for Jimmy Rollins. For
right. That's a big difference.
Oh, no. That doesn't, what do you have to get, 70% or is it?
75.
75. So, to jump from 25 to 75, that's probably not happening. Well, next year, by the way, for those wondering, Buster Posey, John Lester, probably the two biggest names that are eligible, if you will.
Yeah, and Lester's not a Hall of Famer.
I'm just
sorry, but obviously overcoming cancer and being a central figure of two historic World Series championship teams. But I still don't believe Hall of Famer. All right, the other one now that's a healthy discussion.
It really is.
Now, there were others, Craig Biggio played center field for a little bit. Robin Yount played center field amongst many positions. But those that were guarded as, and at the end of his career, Kirby did get moved over to right, like Mike Trout has been moved. Okay, but predominant center fielders, 2 in 50 years until last night. For whatever that's worth. But also Beltran, the rarity. Not a lot of switch hitters in the Hall of Fame. It ain't easy.
Miller and Moulton. David, able to talk Hall of Fame. That makes him happy, folks. It really does. The starting 5 and 25 minutes, Bud Elliott to put a bow on the college football season, and our weekly chat with Seth Everett. They're all ahead. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it.
Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Javier, here's my thought about the Braves and Acuna. It's not just what he's making now. It's the fact that, and we all know the minute he signed his contract that he got taken advantage of. He has 2 club options for 27 and 28. Well, obviously the Braves are going to pick them up because he's a bargain at what the club options were. And what I think is if I'm Acuna and whoever my agent is, I'm saying to the Braves, if you want to keep me, we need to tear up those club options right now and sign a 5 or 6 year extension for market value. Otherwise, I can tell you right now, then I will be leaving you at the end of the 2028 season, in which I believe then he turns 30. But that's what I would say to the Braves if I was Acuna. Listen, we all know you guys got a steal of a deal here. Okay. Either take proper care of me or I'm leaving. Guaranteed. Book it. And they may say fine. But that's what I would do if I was Acuna.
So I want to keep the baseball hour going, by the way, because the other big announcement yesterday was the story about this cap. Do we have a poll question? Simply, are the Dodgers good for baseball?
Yeah, I like it.
And we can set it up by this segment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like it. By the way, the Hillsborough College there.
Yeah, they pat whatever they
unanimous.
Yeah,
unanimous. So the land is taken care of. I will say the drawings, beautiful. I mean, that's what they're trying to build. That's going to be stunning.
Everything gets pushed a year, doesn't it, David? If baseball locks out, does everything just, like, if they miss the whole year, don't the contracts just all extend a year?
Huh.
I don't know that for sure. We'll ask.
You mean player contracts?
Yes.
No.
So they just miss a year of payment?
They miss a year of payment.
And service?
Well, that'll be
negotiated, right?
That'll be negotiated when in a new deal. Do you give the players? See, if I'm the players union, if I can't get the back pay, which you won't get the back pay, can I get the service time? And I would think, by the way, that would be a prerequisite to get a deal to come back. If I'm the Players Association, I'm like, we're getting the service time. Here's what I wonder, by the way. Do the Rays have to stay in St. Pete a year longer? Say there's no baseball in 27. Because right now, the Rays.
Because of their contract with St. Pete.
Right, because remember.
I think you could buy that out.
That's what I would be curious about.
And Major League Baseball may have to help write that check to St. Pete, if you know what I mean. That's a closed door meeting, if you catch my drift.
Uh-huh. Does that lockout year count towards the Rays leaving? Or no, they got to now give them an extra year?
By the way, because I go down TikTok holes and I get a lot of Sopranos clips. There's a really good chance during my time away I'm rewatching that show. I know there's a lot of good shows out there that I need to watch, but damn.
Curious if you'll find it to be better now than even before.
That's...
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this hump day. Let's get over it together. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. By the way, it has been quite a while, and there's a very good reason for it, but David Sampson returns on Friday. Now, it's probably just a one-time thing. All right, David and his family are going through a lot right now. But 9 o'clock, the top of the bonus hour on Friday, the ever-popular David Sampson will return to Miller and Moulton. So there.
So, David, let's continue on with this baseball talk.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
Now I'm even more. I mean, I was doing the happy dance in my chair just talking about two new center fielders in the Hall of Fame. You want to continue the baseball talk. Excuse me while I run around the room.
David hasn't been this excited since they announced the snack wrap was coming back.
That's true. That's true.
I know. That's.
By the way, they're tweaking it. It's getting better. Okay.
Good news.
I think they heard the initial complaints and they're making it more and more like the original.
Quick sidebar. My daughter, we went by McDonald's the other day. She goes, why does everybody like that so much? I go, well, it's been there forever. It's the most popular fast food chain. She goes, I had it once and I threw up the next day. I'll never eat that again.
Wow. She really is your daughter.
I love her. I love her so much. But yesterday, I think way before the Hall of Fame news came out or thereabout, but there's a story that broke that the baseball owners are, and I quote, raging over the Kyle Tucker signing by the Dodgers. And it is now also, I quote, a 100% certainty that the owners will push for a salary cap.
Wait,
now,
that's a breaking news story?
Well, I don't know if that's breaking, but I think the fact that now owners are at least, publicly don't put my name to it, telling reporters that we have to have a cap. The fact that all the owners are apparently livid with the Dodgers for what they're spending as they head into this CBA negotiations. I do think it's a really big story. And the one thing that we will tell you, and we've been talking about this story for, 2 years, David?
Uh-huh.
Is that the thing that we have talked most about is that the owners are not on the same page to get a CBA in front of the players' union. Well, how much of that? Now, the Dodgers may never be on the side of this. But do they need to be? I mean, do all of the owners have to be in lockstep to put a proposal in front of the players? If it's 28 owners that want a cap and a couple that don't, will they be able to put that proposal in front of the players? So I ask this question. Are the Dodgers good for baseball?
Ooh, I like it. I argue yes, because I think the Dodgers are going to bring about monumental change. By the way, they're not doing anything wrong. Not a single thing they're doing is against the rules. Not a thing. Now, a lot of what they're doing is areas that the rules didn't cover, and they're exploiting, like all the deferred money. 68 of 70 million of Ohtani's money every year is deferred. That's a sore subject with owners. Don't know if it's a sore subject with the players, quite frankly, because many players sign deals agreeing to deferred money. But also, there is a thing when the Dodgers got sold 2 sales ago, they're allowed to keep all of their television money. They don't share any of it. Well, the Dodgers have the biggest TV deal by a wide margin. The Dodgers get over $300 million a year from their TV deal. They don't share any of that. That all stays with them. So they're bringing in, if never mind the Ohtani Japan revenue, they're bringing in their own revenue, which is superior to anybody else's. And you throw in the fact that they damn near sell out every game. And Dodger Stadium holds over 50,000. I mean, they do 4 million people at the box office.
And I say yes for 2 reasons. One, like you said, this is going to bring about change. It
Monumental.
is. And 2, everybody needs someone to hate.
Yes.
You know, it's far different. Don't give this comparison probably is lousy, but I'm going to give it anyhow. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago rather, about the Avalanche, that they're getting everybody's A game because they're beating the crap out of everybody. Well, teams play them hard. Well, it's the same. I mean, every time the Dodgers go on the road, every time, one, they're going to sell a boatload of tickets for all of the other owners when they go to their place. 2, everybody hates them. You know, for the longest time, this was the Yankees.
Right.
You know, in the 80s, right. This
right.
80s and in the 2000s, this was the Yankees. And it worked for baseball. It worked really well. So I think I'm with you, David. I think this is good for baseball for a couple of reasons. Now, I can understand why if you root for a National League team not named the Dodgers, you're a little upset right now. We won't even get to – I haven't even been able to ask David, where's Bichette going to play for the Mets, and does he like the signing? That's for another day. See, that's just a tease for Moulton right there.
Unbelievable.
Just to let him know I'm paying attention to his team.
Unbelievable. Now I'm running so fast that I'm going to run into walls. I'm so happy. Somebody last week posted something, and I saved it because I found it interesting, in which he said, if Major League Baseball played by the NBA salary cap rules, and he took the 2025 payrolls, and he quickly said the salary cap, by the way, would have been $180 million. The luxury tax threshold would have been $219. But the salary cap floor would have been $162 million. Half the league is below the floor. Needless to say, the Marlins and Rays are well below the floor.
They might be under $100 million to start the season, for crying out loud.
But the Orioles, the Tigers, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Royals, okay, they were all under the floor. So 9 teams would have been over the luxury tax threshold, by the way. 3 would have been in the middle, between 180 and 219. They were the Cubs, the Angels, and the Red Sox. The 9 who would have been over it, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Blue Jays, Astros, Rangers, Padres, Braves. So here's the other thing. Major League Baseball players in 2024 only received 47% of baseball's $12 billion in revenue. The NBA players get between 49 and 51. The NFL players get 50. Now they get 50 of the revenue that's agreed to be shared. That's a whole other point why the NFL Players Union can't suck enough.
But
Okay.
remember, the national deals, particularly in basketball and obviously in football, are all shared. The TV revenue that David spoke about, that's the details that we don't think will ever get owners to agree upon some sort of revenue sharing. Dodgers aren't giving up that money. The Yankees aren't giving up that money. The Red Sox aren't giving up that money.
But you could see on paper, and it's actually something that Rob Manfred has been telling the players, you guys would actually get more money if you adopted the system we wanted you to adopt. Because there it is. You're getting 47% of the revenue. To do a deal in line with the other leagues, we'd have to give you 49, 50, 51. There was a time the NBA players were getting like 57% of the revenue.
Tony Clark, while the free agent market is far from over, it's gratifying to see players at all levels being rewarded for their incredible accomplishments by those clubs that are trying to win without excuses.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea, and by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, David, my a-hole moment yesterday. Some guy, the 18th green and the 15th green are relatively close to one another.
Okay.
If you in 18 was into the wind. So if you pull one, it's possible to hit it on the 15th green. I know this personally. I've been close. Some Yahoo hit one on the 15th green. I'm in the 15th fairway or in the rough, getting ready to approach the green. We're like, what the hell? Guy walks on the green. Okay, hit it on the green. Proceeds to hit a shot off the green.
Oh, no.
Then he runs and grabs the thing because we have the sand in Florida to fill your divots and fills his divot.
On the green.
David, on the green.
God. Oh, my God.
You know me, I, of course, go charging over to the 18th green. I'm like, Chris, because I knew the one guy. I go, did you just hit off the green? It wasn't me. I go, which one of you just hit off the green? And this guy, I did. Like, what's the matter? And I lay into him. Like, what's wrong with you? I go, what's your name? I go, are you a member? I pulled that one. I go, are you a member here? Yeah. What's your name? Jim. I go, Jim what? He goes, what's your name? I go, my name's Mark Miller. And he goes, and he said his last name. I go, good, because I need to know who to file the grievance against.
Oh, my God. I mean, come on, dude.
And then he said he ran into the pro shop and apologized and said, I didn't know the rules. Well, then you shouldn't be on my golf course. No offense. You should go play the Muni. Go to Fort Myers Country Club. Go play a Muni.
You don't know the rules. You putt on a green. That's it.
But you're allowed free relief. Any human being knows it. And the other three guys in the group should know it too.
Yeah, you take the ball, drop it in front of the green. Okay, no closer to the hole. Just roll it down the hill. Okay, and then play it. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, I took a picture, sent it to the club president, said, who do I file my grievance with? I've never done this before.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe someone's that stupid.
Thank you. Like, I think he should be suspended for stupidity. And our course has never been in this good a shape. I've been there 10 years. It's never been this good. Our greens are effing perfect. They're fast. They're smooth. They hold. The course looks beautiful, despite the fact we've had no rain. And I know we don't get rain this time of year, but we didn't have any rain this summer either. So the water levels are way down everywhere. Any golf person would know that. Superintendents have had to work their tails off this year. And I know you're listening, superintendents. Well, not anymore. You're at work already. It's all right. I made a little money yesterday, enough to buy a couple of squares on a Super Bowl board. And it's a great Muni, Paula. I love the Fort. I do. It's a Donald Ross course, for crying out loud. We're lucky to have it here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth, Everett, Bud Elliott to join us coming up in our 8 a.m. Eastern hour. Right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. They are building a better community with many options, but they're doing it through business, sports, and tourism. BST, business, sports, and tourism. We'll start with baseball, which we don't normally do in January, except for once a year when they announce who's getting into the Hall of Fame. And they did so last night. And it's Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran, a couple of center fielders, voted into the Hall. Beltran, his 4th year on the ballot, got 84% of the vote. Jones is 9th year on the ballot, and you're only on the ballot for 10 years now. 9th year on the ballot, he got 78% of the vote. They both benefited greatly, Mark. There's like 10+% new voters for the Hall of Fame, much younger voters. You have to be a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America for 10 years to be eligible. Well, there's a new wave of over 50 first-time voters, all of them younger, and certain candidacies really benefited by the younger vote, none more so than Beltran, but Jones gets in as well. They joined Jeff Kent, who was elected a few months ago from the Contemporary Era Committee. Those that came up short of the 75% needed, Chase Utley at 59%, Andy Pettit at 49%.
Does Pettit get in eventually, David? Or he's been voted on a few times now, right? Is he like 7 years in?
He's not going to get in by the writers, but do I think he's going to get in like Jeff Kent just got in? I do. Remember, he's an admitted PED user. He said while rehabbing an injury, he used, I don't know if it was cream or steroids, but he is an admitted PED user. But obviously, he was a stalwart on the Yankees dynasty. He was their number 2 starter seemingly every year, a great postseason record. To me, he's Keith Hernandez, okay? He's Don Mattingly. He walks right up to the door, and I wouldn't vote him in.
I would disagree with you on the Veterans Committee because they're tougher on PED users than even the writers are.
Well, we'll see. All right. I think Pettit will get in, but not by the writers. I think it'll be like 15 years from now, but I think he will get in. One other baseball note from yesterday. The Mets acquire Luis Robert from the White Sox. They gave up Acuna's younger brother and a minor league pitcher. Acuna's younger brother is tearing up winter ball in, I believe, Venezuela. Okay. He's been a fringe major leaguer with the Mets, but he wasn't really given a shot. I actually think the White Sox are going to make out better in this deal. Mets have to pick up all of Roberts' $20 million salary and $2 million buyout if they don't pick up the player option or club option, I should say, for next season. NFL news. Mike McDaniel is heading west. He spurs Tampa Bay and Philadelphia and heads to L.A. to be offensive coordinator of the Chargers. He also was still a candidate to be a head coach in 3 different places. But Mike McDaniel gets to work with Justin Herbert. How ironic is that?
That is the part of this that floored me when I found out yesterday.
You know, the whole Tua and Herbert tied because they were drafted 5th and 6th in the same draft. Right. So he worked with the guy who was number 5. Now he gets to work for the guy who was number 6. Mike McDaniel, new offensive coordinator of the LA Chargers. How about that dynamic, by the way? Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel. Is that the 2 extremes of personality?
Well, let's just take it one step further. Let's just say, I don't know, Herbert throws 25 times in the first half and has 3 picks. How's halftime going to go?
I just wondering. To me, it seems like it's, I don't know, Jerry Garcia and Ted Nugent. Is what I feel like we're going to have here is the dynamic in LA with the Chargers. Packers, by the way, released cornerback Trayvon Diggs. College football. This could be the biggest story from yesterday. This could be the biggest story for the next 5 years in college athletics. In a lawsuit with huge ramifications, Duke is suing quarterback Darian Mensah from transferring. Mensah told Duke on December 19th he was staying. Then 2 weeks later, on the last day of the transfer window, he said he was leaving and later agreed to be going to Miami. So you have an ACC school suing a player who's then wanting to go to another ACC school. Duke claims it has a valid contract with Mensa for $4 million for this season. Both sides want the matter resolved ASAP. Both sides seem very confident in their positions, by the way. Very interesting. Okay? So if you have a valid contract, can you not transfer? Does it matter?
This becomes state laws. Every state's different. This is
Right.
why, Darren Heitner wrote a great piece about the Washington quarterback and why he ended up staying. Never said he couldn't sue, just said it was the right idea for this kid to stay at Washington.
So Duke suing their quarterback who led them to the ACC championship. They want him to stay. How awkward will that be, by the way, if they win? Although I think the $4 million a year might, make it a little less awkward. But also, if Duke wins, who's going to quarterback the Canes? And since it's now, there are still quarterbacks out there that Duke could accept if they lose. But also, does it matter when you say you're going to transfer? Because, if nothing else, Mensa did them wrong. He told them he was staying. And then the very last day of the window, he says, I'm leaving. Duke had a month.
I'm fascinated by all of this, David.
Yes.
Because you and I are old. Our word means something. It doesn't seem to matter anymore. I get trying to go get the bag. I understand it. I really do. But at whose expense and how much of it are you hurting yourself at some point?
Well, right. Now, people will say, well, coaches get up and leave when they're under contract, but there are almost always clauses in it in which, they have to leave, but they have to write their old school a check. Is there such a clause in Mensa's contract with Duke? Is it ironclad? Does it mean nothing at all? Mark, to me, isn't that what gets settled here? Either are these contracts ironclad or completely meaningless?
And right now, it appears that they're completely meaningless.
Correct. College hoops. Big night last night. UCLA at home knocked off fourth-ranked Purdue, 69-67. Miami of Ohio remained unbeaten. They scored late to tie it. They beat Kent State on the road in overtime, 107-101. Miami of Ohio's 20-0 on the season. And by the way, it was standing room only at Kent State last night, 6,700. Awesome. That is just awesome. Gators took care of LSU, 79-61. UCF went to Iowa State and got blown out by 30. Kansas, without Bill Self, 19th ranked Jayhawks went to Colorado, beat the Buffaloes 75-69. St. Louis has won 12 in a row. The 24th ranked Billikens went to Duquesne and won 81-77. St. Louis is 18-1 on the season. Third ranked Michigan handled Indiana at home, 86-72. NC State went to Clemson and won. Good win for Will Wade's team, 80-76 in overtime. 21st ranked Georgia survived at Missouri, 74-72. Hey, a lot of people don't like them. Mark, you're high on the Gators come tournament time. I'm high on Arkansas. Okay.
A lot of reasons to be.
And the 20th ranked Razorbacks beat the 15th ranked Commodores by 25 last night. 10th ranked Michigan State, 12th ranked Texas Tech all won. Florida State went to Miami and beat the Canes. Canes were 4-1 in conference, and Florida State hadn't won a conference game. 65-63. St. John's won the Big East showdown for second place with Seton Hall, 65-60. And Auburn, by the way, a good road win, 78-66 over Ole Miss. 7 games in the association. The Heat hit 21 threes. They shot 50% from beyond the arc. Oh, they are pros. 130-117, Miami over Sacramento. Devin Booker with 27. Phoenix won in Philly, 116-110. The Bulls hit 25 threes, cooled off the hot Clippers, 138-110. Houston down 10 going to the fourth, rallied to beat the Spurs, 111-106. Do you know who Keontae George is? Anybody? Not just asking you, Mark. You know who Keontae George is? And do you know what NBA team he plays for? Just giving everybody a couple seconds. He plays for the Utah Jazz. He scored 43 last night in Utah's 5-point win over Minnesota. Luka, 38 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. A little triple-double action. In Denver, they beat the Nuggets 115-107. Mark Miller's tip paid off in a big way. He said, Golden State's going to be a little down losing Jimmy Butler to a torn ACL. And they're playing on back-to-back nights. I like Toronto to win at Golden State. Toronto was getting points. They got 40 from Emmanuel Quickley in beating the Warriors by 18. Good call, Mr. Miller. Good call. Hockey, 8 games last night. The Lightning are on fire. I mean,
They are so good right now.
The Colorado Avalanche are looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning going, you guys are on a roll.
Yeah, give me this Colorado Lightning playing like this in May and June.
Oh,
I am all in.
I'm all in for an Avs Lightning final. I know they did one 4 years ago. Let's do it again. Lightning 4-1 over San Jose. They're 13-0-1 in their last 14. Brandon Hagel with 2 goals. He's got 25 on the season. Darcy Kempner got hurt for the Kings in goal. Pay attention to that. LA did beat the Rangers 4-3. Sabres jumped out to a 4-0 lead, held off Nashville 5-3. Jersey 2-1 over Edmonton. Cole Caulfield scored the game winner with 15 seconds left. Montreal 4-3 over Minnesota. Ottawa snapped Columbus's 4-game winning streak 4-1. Dallas snapped Boston's 6-game winning streak 6-2. And Mark Scheifele with 2 goals and assists for Winnipeg in their 3-1 win over St. Louis. Aussie Open still going on. Yeah, we know you're not paying attention. You haven't missed much. There hasn't been a major upset yet. Alcaraz and Sinner advance in straight sets. Djokovic and Taylor Fritz are both in second-round action later today. Women's side, Naomi Osaka advanced 6-4 in the third. Top seed Sabalenka through to the third round. Third seed Coco Gauff through to the third round. Americans Pegula, Keys, and Anisimova all in action today. I pick Anisimova to win it, by the way. She's the 4 seed. I mean, it's not an outlandish pick, but she's the one who got double bageled at Wimbledon last year. I think she's going to win the Australian. Just throwing that out there.
I'll take your word for it. Wake me up when it's over.
I know.
Tennis starts when Wimbledon starts, and it ends after the U.S. Open.
And our system went 2-3 last night. We thought we were going to have 7 plays. 2 of them flipped right before tip, so we ended up with 5. We went 2-3 on the night. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through bacon, lettuce, and tomato. I mean BST. Business, sports, and tourism.
Although I do like the nominee for burritos, salsa, and tamales.
Yes.
That's tremendous.
Yes.
It really is. Poll question is up. Are the Dodgers good for baseball? Very simple. They spend the most. They're the new evil empire. Is it good for baseball? Bad for baseball? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X to vote.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, A-Jappy, and Veragio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What are the odds of you knowing any guest for Thursday by the end of the show?
Very poor.
All right, you want to do a promo then?
Sure.
We're rolling.
Coming up Thursday on Miller and Moulton.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, there'll be something. We just don't have anything planned at present time.
Okay, then we'll talk some baseball. How about that?
Miller and Moulton, 6 a.m. Thursday.
Ah, crap. That's way too long. Let's try that again. We're rolling.
Coming up Thursday on Miller and Moulton.
We'll start getting ready for the AFC and NFC championship games.
And otherwise, I have no idea what we'll talk about.
But you'll find out Thursday, 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, Seth Everett in an hour, Bud Elliott in about 90 minutes time. Baseball Hall of Fame. Writers put in 2 new Hall of Famers last night. Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran. Hall of Fames always lead to debate. Who's in, who's out, who should be in, who's not. A fascinating story going on at Duke, in which the school is suing its star quarterback, who said he's leaving. And they say, we got a contract. You ain't going anywhere. And this seems as if it's going to make its way to court, unlike the story a couple weeks ago with the Washington quarterback who said he was leaving. And Washington said, we got a contract. And within 72 hours, the Washington quarterback said, upon further review, I'm staying. And certain legal people said, yeah, he was going to lose. And others said he was going to win. It's just that the offer he had at Washington was really good, and he probably wasn't going to do better. And not only that, his agent dropped him and his lawyer dropped him, and, it was causing issues. They just felt he did Washington wrong. So a huge story that is out there. Big night in college hoops. The Lightning are 13-0-1 in their last 14. Oh, by the way, the Rays scored a huge win off the field. Got a unanimous vote from the folks in Hillsborough County. They're getting the land that the college is on. They're on Del Mabry. Now it's securing the financing. Our buddy J.P. Peterson, who we trust more than anybody else in Tampa to cover that sports scene, he says in a couple weeks, Governor DeSantis is going to be in town, and they're going to announce that they got the financing all wrapped up.
Let's go back to this Duke story, though, and that's a lot of things that we can get into and talk about. We did throw out a poll question today. It's about baseball. We spent the first hour of those, the first 2 segments before the starting 5, talking about the Hall of Fame, Beltran and Jones getting into the Hall, and then a little bit about the Dodgers and the salary cap, which led us to our poll question, are the Dodgers good for baseball? Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, 21,000 the number. If you've never texted the show, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000. A reminder, Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9 Pelican. Let me get that again. 866-9 Pelican, statewide commercial residential. Someone did text, if they make it to the World Series, it's bad for baseball. If they struggle, it's good for baseball. I would argue with that. I think having a villain, having someone that everybody is either rooting for or against is always good, and I think the league would love the Dodgers to go to the World Series. But let's get back to this Duke story, because I am curious, also on the text line, why I gave out the number, what people think, where they think this is going. Because Miller and Moulton have argued for quite a while that they need to be employees. Therefore, contracts are enforceable. What it seems right now, more than anything, is that these contracts are not enforceable. And this case, we will find out maybe just in North Carolina, David, because that's the other part of this. Where's the suit going to be done? How it's going to work? We all remember how the ACC, Florida State, and Clemson were filing these suits and how things were working out in different areas. But we got a text that said, seems like the ACC commissioner needs to step in and do something. Either stop the transfer or make sure Duke gets its money back. I would argue that the ACC commissioner has absolutely zero power in this case.
Yeah, I mean, unless he, the conference obviously has attorneys. Now, if you're Jim Phillips and you go to your attorneys and say, who's in the right here, the kid or Duke? And your attorneys emphatically say whichever side, would you then go public? if you were Jim Phillips? Do you want to get involved in this if you're the commissioner? Like, what if they tell you the kid's completely within the right? Do you then go public and say, Duke, I know you're left at the altar here and understand your upset and disappointment, but the kid can go to Miami. Just drop the suit and let him go. Or do you only get involved if your attorneys say, yeah, Duke's in the right here? And then you go and you say, we are going to support Duke with all the way to the commissioner's office, even though you're doing it at the expense of another ACC school because the kid wants to go to Miami. Okay. But do you basically stand up for a contract as a contract, and otherwise we're going to have chaos? And that's when you get involved. Or do you just sit it out?
I'd probably sit it out. But, you know, David, this is you and I, why we got really into the live golf thing a while ago was these guys are working for themselves in golf. And now the college athlete is working for himself. They're not part of a union. I mean, David, doesn't it certainly look like the college football player is an independent contractor?
Oh, without question. Without question. I mean, hell, they're allowed to hire agents and attorneys. I mean, they're allowed to have people negotiate for them with schools. I mean, they're professionals. Yes. Absolutely.
Without any seeming restrictions on where they can go. Because there is no repercussions for breaking a contract. That's the part of this I guess I'm most fascinated by. Is who are they signing the contracts with? With the school, with the collectives. How is this either illegal or legal for them to do this?
See, I'm hoping Duke wins. For as much as I'm on the side of the players, and you and I both are, and we've been on the side of the players for a long time here, probably 15 years. We've been publicly advocating as a show that the players needed to be compensated beyond what was the scholarship. I mean, think about how audacious it was that Steve Spurrier 15 years ago thought that the kids should get between $200 and $400 a game and put in an account for them. And when they were done with school, they get the check.
And
how obnoxious.
He was
oh my goodness.
By
Destroyed.
everybody in the sport.
Destroyed for it. Right. And he said, we can afford it. We make a lot of money off those players. Just a couple hundred a game. I think they deserve it. Oh, my goodness. And by the way, a guy who never came close to breaking an NCAA rule, who ran staggeringly clean programs at Duke, Florida, and South Carolina. And he was the one advocating for it.
By the way, we got another text. This is what happens when you chum the water. You get a bunch of sharks. College football is a mess, and who gets bit? The fans. Look at everything you set up until who gets bit, the fans. You're right. The fans get bit. Explain to me how. There have never been more people watching college football than right now. Now, if you're a fan of a team that's not spending a bunch of money, well, then that sucks. Trust me, I know. You know, it looks like the team I root for just got $400 million from a donor. Well, okay, Pat Fitzgerald, let's get to spending. But how is the fan getting bit here? I mean, I think some of the schools that players are leaving from are getting bit, but they have the same opportunity. I'll go back and just say it. Indiana, everybody. Come on. When this all started, did anybody think Indiana would be out there in the portal saying, we got the cash? Texas Tech, they're spending it. They've gotten better. So, maybe if you're an Alabama fan, you got bit because you couldn't keep all the players you'd been keeping for the last 2 decades. But I don't think the fan's getting bit here. The fan may not like it. It's ugly. It's unseemly. The transfer portal's a mess. There are some things that need to be fixed. Miller and Moulton both agree with that. But I don't believe the fan is getting bit here. I don't.
I do, however, need a contract to be a contract. I do. I mean, I'm all for the Wild West. We said it 5 years ago. We said, listen, we want chaos, and it is going to be uglier and messier than you could ever imagine. And we were all for it. We were pushing for it as a show. And it's every bit as ugly and messy as we thought it would be. But I'm sorry, Mark. All right. I need to know, is a contract? Because at least with the coaches and the ADs, they have contracts that there are clauses in them that if they leave, they have to compensate the university in such a manner. There does not seem to be that clause in a player contract. I could be wrong. All right. There is one kid, I think, who transferred and the school is actually paying. It was in the contract and he owes the school money and the school he's going to is paying it. In fact, it may be Mensa going to Miami. I'll try to remember who it is. I'll look it up during the break. But I need to know, are these contracts valid? Okay. Or quite frankly, during the 15-day transfer window, are the contracts valid 350 days a year, and during those 15 days they're not?
And David, I'm with you, and I would like, I don't know about uniform contracts, but I mean, basically, if you sign an NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, it's the same contract. They're all signing the same contract with their teams. The numbers that they fill in are different, but the contract's the same, and everybody knows what that means. So they do need uniformity in this. This goes back to no commissioner of the sport. Every conference is running independently of one another.
But see, this is where, do you think, these commissioners do get together to talk about TV deals in the playoff.
Absolutely. They're together right now trying to figure out if we're going to 16 for crying out loud.
Right. And they have until Friday.
They can't do that. You think they can take care of it?
Well, but no, in all seriousness, though, don't you think you could get the 10 conferences, okay, and Notre Dame to agree as to the wording of a contract? I mean, seriously, guys, we need to have a standard contract. Can we agree on that? Because if you can't agree on that, then forget it. I mean, honestly, but can we at least agree this is the wording of a standard contract? We're all going to administer the same contract. The only thing that's going to be different is length of service and the amount of money and name of school and name of kid, right?
Yes. And length of service is one of my bones of contention with this, because they all want what the NFL has turned to in free agency, a bunch of one-year deals. So that tells the kid, I'm going where the most money is every year. If you want to stop it, you sign longer deals. Miller and Moulton, American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family-owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
obviously, you know I love them because it's my team. But, man, we need to go in every Izzo huddle. Told Kerr last night, you couldn't guard my mother.
Yes, and then reiterated it in the postgame.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, that Oregon, and I know it's Oregon, so you just take everything they do differently. That's a tough TV watch on that floor to me.
I agree.
Their floors, just different shades of brown, if you will. It's a tough watch with lighting on television. DC, I believe scholarship wording is uniform, but it is 1-year deals. And that's always been my complaint. Everybody wants, they get scholarships. They don't get 4-year scholarships. They're all 1-year deals, basically.
Well, Greek God also, if coaches do fulfill the contract, they pay the buyout. It's in the contract. They can leave, but they have to pay X amount of money. It's in the buyout. So they are fulfilling their contract.
I got a bunch of text here, so I think we can continue on this path for a moment.
Yeah, and I got some information based off of a couple of things we brought up last segment. I got to shave. It's been too long. This is bothering me.
You need to see if there's a barber in Jacksonville and sit down and do the mafia shave.
Yeah, I really should. And I'm sure that.
Although when your beard's long, I've only had a straight razor a couple of times, and they've got to be good. And with a long beard, it might sting a little more than you think. You might need to take the electric and trim that down before you.
Whoa, no, the electric hurts me so much.
Oh, I wouldn't use I would use the thing that pops up and.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Like trim it.
Oh no. Yeah, because the electric just pulls hair.
Oh my goodness.
Then you're looking like your 12-year-old kid with zits, for crying out loud. Yeah. No, Sonny, he won't. Dale Murphy's never getting in the Hall of Fame. I have come to grips with that, and you know what? It is a shame. I'm with you 100%. So's David.
I felt like when I was watching him growing up that he was a Hall of Famer. When he won the back-to-back MVPs as a center fielder, I thought he was a Hall of Famer. He was the second best home run hitter in the National League that decade behind Schmidt. I just thought he was a Hall of Fame player when I was watching him. But I guess, the numbers don't add up. 398 for home runs. His career did end very quickly. I mean, he fell off the map. And he didn't get to 400. Well, no, Sonny, he was a great dude. I mean, that's the thing. People are saying he was like, with the Harmon Killebrew, like one of the best human beings to ever play the sport. Somebody wrote an interesting article recently talking about how many current Hall of Famers are playing in baseball. And the number they came up with was 40. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a lot, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't say they're wrong.
I will say the top of the Dodgers order is all going in. Tony Betts and Freeman.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Hump Day edition of Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett at the top of the hour. Bud Elliott in a little more than an hour. Our poll question: are the Dodgers good for baseball? Yes or no?
50-50 right now, by the way.
Oh,
Early
really?
voting, not a lot of votes. I'm surprised. I thought the no's were going to win this, 75-25. And you and I both think they are good for baseball for what it's worth.
Yes, I think they're good for baseball because what they're doing, which is completely within the rules, is going to lead to a major change of the rules and more competitive balance and, maybe a cap or a floor, something. And so I think that's good. I'm glad the Dodgers are pressing the envelope. For the record, the tax they are paying on their payroll, the tax is the 9th highest payroll in the sport.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And owners leaking out that they desperately want a cap. Now, we know Rob Manfred does, but the owners are saying it because of the Tucker signing. We'll see. The Tony Clark, the union head, basically said how great it is that free agents are being compensated the way they are. We've always thought, and I get why Tony Clark said what he said, I would love to see Tony Clark or a middle-of-the-road baseball player, but particularly someone from the union say, hey, we're all for a cap as long as we get a floor. We need everybody to get paid. That would be the stance I would take.
It will be interesting to see if the cap has any movement within the player side. Okay, it's bad enough that the owners are going to fight each other and fight to, what do they need? Is it 22 or 23? They need 75%, I believe. And so it's either they need 22 or 23 votes, because 21 is 70%. Okay, so I think they need 23 votes because I think 22 votes is like 73.3%. So I think the owners need 23 of 30 votes to change the system on their side. Of course, the system they want to change it to right now looks to be dead on arrival on the player's side. So
the other big story we've been talking about, the Duke quarterback said he was staying, now is transferring, and they're suing one another. Duke and the quarterback.
Right. For the record, Darian Mensah is the young man's name. He led Duke to the ACC title this year. He wants to transfer to Miami. Miami is not involved in the suit. Duke is suing the kid. Mensah does not have a buyout in his contract. Williams, the kid from Washington, did have a buyout. I think it was $1 million. Some people claim that was part of the reason why he reversed course. Either he couldn't get the next school to pay it, or he just didn't have the money to be able to turn around and pay Washington the buyout. Mark, the quarterback I was thinking of is Brendan Sorsby. He quarterbacked Cincinnati this year. Remember, Cincinnati had a good year.
Yes, they did.
He transfers to Texas Tech. He has to pay Cincinnati $1 million. Now, we don't know if Texas Tech is paying it or if Texas Tech is giving the kid so much money that the kid is paying it, but he's paying it because of Texas Tech. But anyway, the kid's leaving and he owes Cincinnati $1 million and he's paying it.
Lot of text. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. The number's 21,000. The keyword Miller if you've never texted before. So text Miller to 21,000. Then the gates open. I'm all for the players getting paid, but a contract should be a contract. If you don't hold them accountable now, they will just continue to feel entitled and hold out when they go pro. Again, up until hold them accountable, I'm with you. The holdout thing, who's holding out now in the NFL? Nobody holds out. The rookie contracts are set in stone. I mean, you have one guy a year that holds out a little bit.
Didn't we have the kid who got drafted by the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
And they had a dispute, and eventually he showed up right before the season started. But, I mean...
And that's the Bengals, the cheapest organization in the league.
Right. And they were trying to put language in his contract that was outside the normal language. And his agent said, we ain't signing this. And eventually the Bengals caved.
This is the great question. Please answer this. If the contracts are enforceable, does that make them employees? If so, do schools lose tax-exempt status because they would admittedly be for profit? No on the last part. On the first part, this is what Miller and Moulton have been pushing for, I don't know, 2 years?
Trying to think, though. Like Mark and I, we've worked for companies before, and we've also been 1099 with companies before. I'm trying to think, when we were 1099, did we have a binding contract?
We were on that twice, right? X 2 and 3.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first one we had what I thought was a binding contract.
Yeah, I did too.
We never pressed it on the third one because it really never came.
Right. But I don't think we did on the third one. I thought the third one was kind of a handshake deal.
You may be right. But the second one, we were more nervous of repercussions than anything else.
Right.
I will say, with what we do, and now we're a little differently because we're syndicated, but when we were just in the Fort Myers, Naples market, we had a non-compete in the market. If we would have been offered a job in Tampa or wherever, we could have left without we would not have been breaking our contract to leave the market. But to walk across the street and work for a competitor, we would not have been allowed to do that.
Right.
So it is, back to the first text I got about the ACC commissioner stepping in. It is interesting that this is a guy going from Duke to Miami.
Correct.
Does that mean the commissioner, in fact, could do something? I don't think there's anything on the books that allows that now. But looking back on your text, Jim, that does have maybe a little more merit down the road. But this is why, what David said, I totally agree with, and you're right. These conference commissioners need to get together and have some language so they can try to enforce this. The problem then lies with the people outside of the school.
Well, and also then some of those people may want to say, it doesn't matter what the contract says, you're in the state of blank. And we have laws on the books that says that you can do this. It doesn't matter what contract you sign. That contract is essentially not binding in the state because it doesn't adhere to the law. So that's another problem.
Another long text that basically says, I don't think in any contract you can force someone to work for you who does not want to work for you. And he finishes by saying that a non-compete in general is very difficult to enforce. You're probably right on the non-compete part, but here's the thing. If the schools all agree to it, and that just like, just taking Miller and Moulton, our own personal experience, walking across the street and working for another station, we all thought everybody in the business we're in thought we could get away with it in court. The problem is the owners of the stations wouldn't do it, just for the reason that every one of their employees wouldn't leave. It was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge thing.
Right. Because they're like, I don't want it to happen to me someday where somebody leaves me to go to you. So I'll uphold your non-compete, even though I want these guys today, because this situation could flip around with somebody down the road. So they basically agreed, I won't get involved in your mess. You don't get involved in mine.
And, with this Duke Miami thing, would that actually be something down the road that would happen?
It is fascinating that the kid is intending to transfer to another ACC school.
I think this with a kid from Georgia going to Missouri.
Right.
And there were threats of lawsuits going back and forth. I don't even remember how that whole thing was resolved. Seth Everett, he's with us in about 30 minutes' time. Bud Elliott, an hour from now. All coming up. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise at Seminole Casino Hotel. We're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, I mean, Puck, I know you're trying to push this Signetti to Vegas thing, but Signetti said he's not going to the pros.
Yeah, he said
He said I'm a college guy. Said I made that decision, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, wherever the hell it was.
It was 01, he said. He had a chance to go to somewhere, and he said, I basically had to make the decision right then. Am I a college guy or a pro guy?
The meatball mix is on sale at Mario's this week. Just want to let you know.
Ooh.
I've got I figured I've got vats of sauce in the freezer for the family while I'm not only getting ready for this, but I have to prepare my family and have enough food in the freezer so my wife doesn't have to cook. Because I don't know if the daughter could handle that. I think what I've been told that I don't think I'll be allowed to have a drink in 2026. They're telling me 2027. We'll revisit this down the road. Yeah, you could definitely use that mix for meatloaf. It's an expensive meatloaf. I mean, when you throw the veal in there, but hell yeah, you could. Probably be damn good, too. I mean, isn't meatloaf just damn near, I mean, with the vegetables in it, but it's not, it's just basically a damn big meatball.
Do you have anything here?
No.
Okay. You want to read some text and then can I throw out a subject?
The text I have, he's all over the damn place.
Okay.
It is.
All right. So okay. Because
Thank you, Johnny Finger Lakes. I appreciate that. But it's funny. I just got the one wine club my wife and I are still in. I'm getting clipped today for 3 bottles of nice Pinot Noir that I won't be able to drink. Kind of like when my wife sent me to the pack and chip store to send my niece gifts. I pay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett joins us at the top of the hour, but Elliott 1 hour from now. Our poll question, are the Dodgers good for baseball? They're the new, villain. They're the evil empire. They're spending all the money, payroll over $400 million, paying over $200 million in tax. They went out and signed Kyle Tucker to an obscene contract, second highest annual contract in baseball, highest if you don't count Ohtani's deferred money. Are the Dodgers good for baseball, yay or nay? Miller and Moulton both vote yes. Mark's big on it's a sport needs a villain, always good to have a villain. I believe the Dodgers are going to force major changes in the sport. Won't happen easily, won't happen painlessly, but it's going to happen. There's something that happened over the weekend that we haven't gotten to yet. This probably interests us more than our listeners, but I'm going to take a shot anyway. Did you see the story involving Michael Lasasso?
I did not.
Michael Lasasso is the reigning U.S. amateur champion. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. No, not U.S. amateur. I'm sorry. He's the reigning NCAA champion.
Okay. Golf, you're talking?
Yes.
Okay. Just Michael Lasasso is not a household name, so I wanted to get the sport associated.
I know that, but I think Michael Lasasso made a very interesting decision. So he's the reigning NCAA champion. The reigning NCAA golf champion gets an invite to the Masters. Now, you need to remain an amateur in order to play in the Masters because you were given the invite as an amateur.
By the way, I'm just curious, and I don't know if you know the answer. How long has this been? Because it used to be, the mid-am and there's a lot of British am. I don't remember the NCAA champ getting the Masters invite. Is that?
It's very recent. I'm with you. Yeah, they would honor the RNA and the USGA champions, but no, I don't remember.
Even the mid-am guy would get in.
Right.
So there was a bunch of amateur qualifications to get into the Masters. So this is fairly recent. Okay.
Right. So he gave up his invite to the Masters over the weekend because he signed with Phil Mickelson's High Flyers team in the LIV.
Huh.
So obviously he's also giving up going from college to the PGA Tour. He instead is taking the LIV route.
And they're not giving, by all accounts, Liv is not giving the big signing bonuses that they were to Koepka, Rahm, Mickelson, etc. These guys aren't getting that bag that they were once getting. I'm sure he's getting a chunk of change, but it's first, I don't think it's 2 digits before the comma, if you know what I mean. Probably a few million, but I don't think it's much more than that, is it?
Phil took care of him. Okay, Phil took care of him. It's 8 digits, and the first number's crooked.
Okay, wow.
The word is Phil got the kid $20 million. And obviously, he's now a member of LIV. Everything after that, he's got to earn on his own. Okay, so now LIV has done this before. They've gone out and grabbed some young guys. Okay, and they're also doing that, keeping the next generation away from the PGA Tour. So they put all the old guard on it to get started, but now they're beginning to try to pluck a young kid here, pluck a young kid there. I'm just asking you, if you were Michael Lasasso, because right now, the PGA Tour looks as if they were handing a get-out-of-jail-free card to only 4 guys. Koepka, DeChambeau, Rahm, and Cam Smith. One of the 4 took it. The other 3 didn't. By the way, I'm curious if the PGA Tour down the road, even just a year from now, Mark, quick sidebar, do you think the PGA Tour will be as generous with the 3 of them who didn't take their essentially amnesty offer? That's the way they're looking at it now. And if they a year or 2 down the road, like DeChambeau and Rahm's contracts are up in a year. If next year those 2 want to leave LIV and join the PGA Tour, you think they're going to get the same offer Koepka got?
If I were running the tour, I would give it, but because we know who's really running the tour, I doubt it. I think this was not that they won't make the offer in a year, but it would be more punitive in years following than this one was. That would be my guess, David.
And remember, the offer was only extended to the 4 players who had, quote, won a major during the existence of LIV. Phil won his PGA 6 to 8 months before the existence of LIV.
For the record, and I think you're with me, I would have offered it to Phil, even though he probably wouldn't have taken it. He put it, I'm down here in Southwest Florida. I know a lot of you listening out because it's where we started, but we're on in Tampa and Jacksonville, etc. But here in Southwest Florida, we've got the Chubb, the senior tournament. I think it's still the Chubb.
Yeah.
How many more tickets does that sell if Phil Mickelson's playing than what the current lineup is?
Thousands.
And I think it's thousands.
Thousands. And that's
at every single senior tour stop that Phil would agree to play at. I would have had a clause in Phil's amnesty, if you will, that said you've got to play X, try to make sure he plays X number of senior events, even if it's only 8 to 10, because that tour could use his help. There are a bunch of guys on the senior tour now that people don't know. I mean, golf fans aren't that familiar with. The guy who's tearing it up on the senior tour is not a household name.
The other reason why I would have offered Phil is he wouldn't have accepted. And this way the PGA Tour gets to go, hey, we offered, and then they wipe their hands clean of Phil, and they never have to revisit it.
For the record, I think this is horrible business for Liv. I do. I understand what they're doing. Who's this guy again, David? What's his name?
Michael Lasasso.
Michael Lasso. Oh, Lasasso. Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso's now playing on Liv. Who the hell is this guy, and who cares? No, I'm not kidding. He doesn't move the needle. You know how he would have moved the needle? Get on the PGA Tour and win. He could win 5 Liv events, David. 1, he'll have no status to get, I don't know, by winning the NCAA, that doesn't get you in the U.S. Open. It doesn't get you in the Open Championship. So he could still go qualify for those events, and he very well may have the game. Now, he goes and wins a couple majors, everything changes. But the ease of getting into these tournaments comes from playing where? On the PGA Tour. I'm all for getting the bag. $20 million is not only life-changing, it can be generational changing. I get it. But from his perspective, I get taking the bag. From Liv's golf standpoint, do you think 6 more people outside of his family are going to watch a Live golf event because Ted Lasso's playing on the Live Tour?
It's Michael Lasasso. Okay, come on now. If you were Lasasso, would you have done it?
David, this is so tough for me because, again, it's $20 million.
Right. And I just want to, I'm looking this up as we're doing this. Do you know how many golfers on the PGA Tour have made $20 million?
In their career?
In their careers have made $20 million. The answer is 127.
It's funny. I was going to guess, 100, 120. I would have guessed pretty close to that. If you'd have let me play prices right, I might have won the showcase.
Sorry, David.
No. But because I started thinking the guy we both know that's from Fort Myers, George McNeil, made like, didn't make that, made like 12, I think.
David Duval did not make $20 million on tour. He was the number 1 golfer in the world. All right. Did not make. Lee Jansen won 2 U.S. Opens, made $16 million in his career.
David, if I were that kid, what I would have tried to done is I'd have tried to thread the needle, and they probably wouldn't have let me on Live. I would have said, let me play the Masters and I'll do it. And I'm not because I think that helps Live golf. I really do.
Though here's the problem, though. The Live season starts next month.
I got you.
And so that's why they said, hey, kid, you got to join now or you can't join for another year. Here's the other thing that factors into it. The PGA Tour's made it harder to make the tour. They have. They've made it harder for the young kid coming out of college or even the lower tour ranks to make the tour. This is not as welcoming a PGA Tour. In fact, it's the least welcoming PGA Tour since Jack and Arnie forced the separation of the tour in '69 from how they were doing business.
In every aspect, not just what David talked about. One, Q School, there's just a couple of spots. Most of them go to Corn Ferry. Yeah, you get your top 20, but you're not getting the full, then you get some full exemption. But the Monday qualifiers have basically gone away. So it's difficult. So, I wonder, and Sonny brought up his name, and I've literally have it in front of me. Sonny, we're on the same page in the chat room there. But Miles Russell, the kid from Jacksonville, who's committed to Florida State, who's getting a bag in NIL to go to Florida State. $1 million, I'm told. On pretty good authority. And I think that's out there. But it's $1 million. That's, which, by the way, are you kidding me, Florida State? Like, good for you. But, like, I don't agree, but I get Texas Tech signing the softball pitcher. College softball is a big draw on ESPN. People watch that. Who watches NCAA golf? I know it's on the Golf Channel, but really? There may be 150, 200,000 people watching a tournament on the Golf Channel, if that. So I don't get I'm all for Miles Russell getting the $1 million from Florida State. I'm fascinated as to why Florida State's spending it.
If Michael Lasasso was your kid, would you have said, hey, I know it's 20 million, but you could be a star on the PGA Tour, make more money, legacy, blah, blah, blah. At which point he could turn and look at you and go, make more money than 20 million to sign and each tournament gets 5 million to win?
Well, I would have never said make more money. I think I would ask my son, what do you want your legacy to be? What is it you want? Do you want to be the greatest golfer? Is your goal to be the best golfer you can be, or do you want to make the most money you can? And that's the decision that you have to make here.
He's 21 years old. Do you think he could look you and go, Dad, I'm going to do this for 5 years. I'm going to make $50+ million. Okay, total. And then I'll go back. I'll take my punishment. If I have to play the world tours and work my way back to the PGA Tour, I'll do it.
Or he might say, I'm going to work 10 years on live or 5 years on live, and I'm going to be done.
And be done. I'm 27 years old and have 50 million.
And by the way, you and Mom are going to live a pretty good life too. No. I would merely ask him what I want what do you want your legacy to be? Is it more than money? And it would be, I can't ever begrudge somebody that says, I'm going to take the bag, David. You know that about me.
I mean, I dropped out of college because I had a full-time job in television. You know what I went to college for? To get a full-time job in television. I mean, why do you play golf? Yeah, it'd be great to win I want to win the Masters. Yeah, okay. But why are you playing? You're playing to make money. You're playing to make money playing golf, as opposed to going out in the real world and working for a living. But Michael Lasasso, reigning NCAA champion, 21 years old, has got a different swing, too. It's a very powerful swing, Mark. He takes the club back, he gets to the top, and then he kind of squats down at the ball and then fires it. I mean, he hits the ball an awfully long way. It's considered like the new swing, getting as much power into these swings as possible.
And, the other side of this that we've really not talked about is that I don't know from an international standpoint with where they're playing, what type of money there is in sponsorship and endorsements worldwide that may not be here in the States, but may be for them worldwide. Fascinating. $20 million. Again, I don't begrudge the kid one bit. I wouldn't do it if I were Liv, because I don't think it helps their tour out at all. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett coming up on the other side, but Elliott about 50 minutes from now.
Mark Miller for Sleep Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You stay up and watch last night?
I did.
I was thinking about you as I went to bed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I bet you Seth's watching.
I mean, if they had fallen behind, I was probably gonna pass out. But
Good game. I mean, 2-1 game. It had to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, it was 1-0, then 1-1, then 2-1 Devils. So it was great.
They got off their little schneid. They're playing better again.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Let's see. The ACC Network has the Cuse game tonight at 9. Devils are in Vancouver Friday at 10. What? I can't take this.
Oh, I went to bed on Michigan State, got a big lead. I was watching Michigan State Oregon started tonight. I'm like, I'm not staying up for this.
Yeah. I don't know.
I will say I'm a little ticked off because this NBC Sports Network, NBC's attempt to go back to 19,
I used to work there.
I paid for Peacock. And now all of the Peacock games are basically on NBC Sports Network as they're trying to, I don't know, grow that. But it's like, I bought it literally, I bought it for 2 reasons. For Michigan State hoop, and the Olympics are coming, and my wife loves the Olympics. Yep. Summer, winter, doesn't matter.
Gold zone, yep.
So, I can get this through February and dump it, and I'll be fine. What is it? And I think I got an Apple TV with it, so while I'm in the hospital here, I can watch Ted Lasso because that's on the list.
Yep.
So I'm like, fine. It's 30.
Poker Face is on Peacock.
Is that good?
Yep. And another show that's really good is based on a true story with Kaylee Cuoco.
I can fall asleep to anything, particularly after this show. Like when I've started watching.
People fall asleep during it.
Well, it's I've started watching the Astros documentary. And I've got to finish it before we have Samson on Friday. Because holy cow, do they go after him?
Yeah, they do.
You mean the Expos? Yeah.
The Expos.
Astros, Sydney. I'm sorry.
Right. The Expos.
The first interview, he's like, all right, I'm ready. He goes, but you guys are like sharks. You're ready to pounce.
Yeah. Samson's all over that documentary. It's 8 degrees, by the way, this morning. 8.
Seth, it was in the 50s this morning. Okay,
it's 41 here in Jacksonville. On Monday, when I was in Boston was only 4 degrees colder than Jacksonville.
It's crazy.
And another little cold snap's coming in, right?
Yeah. I saw they're supposed to get, a comedian said, we're supposed to get between 1 and 3,050 inches on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The European models.
Yeah.
You guys doing a lot of Beltron today?
A little bit. Here we go.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home, If you're in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples, final hour of the show, live Oak Lake City and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, are the Dodgers good for baseball? Yes or no? It's pretty split. You heard Seth Everett's vote. He's joining us now, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Are you back on X or no?
I try to. I will be when I try to. I can do it on my PC. If I'm on my PC, I can get it to work.
Follow
X
on X. It's Seth_Everett.
Screw X.
I wondered why you don't retweet your appearances or repost your appearances anymore.
That would take about an hour and a half. I used to.
I want to start with the poll question because you booed. Miller and Moulton, both for the record, think the Dodgers are good for baseball. Because more than anything, I think every sport needs a villain. They're clearly that. David, I think, agrees with my premise, but more so thinks that all of this money they're spending is going to lead to big changes in baseball. You booed. Why do you think they're bad for baseball?
Well, because in the 26 years that I covered the sport, competitive balance was always a big issue. In the 2000s, in the early 2000s, it was Moneyball, and it was the Twins and the Expos and the other the other teams that didn't spend a lot as opposed to the big bad Yankees. I remember the Raul Mondesi was traded for like a bag of baseballs because of money, and the payroll disparity was always egregious, but it was workable. Now you're talking about a scenario where there's some of these teams that are losing their RSN money. There's probably 18 to 22 teams that are going into this spring training with not even a prayer. And the four elite teams, it's too gross a difference. And at this stage of the game, with a collective bargaining agreement that is expiring, to have one team sign everybody that's a two-time champion, to me, is obnoxious.
They're not breaking any rules,
No, they're not breaking any rules.
Okay, well, but then why
are
they?
I didn't wake up. You asked me. I didn't. I'm not. Sitting out with a sign going "Boo Dodgers." I could care less.
I got it. What I'm curious about, though, is that to what lengths, when you were actively covering the sport, and you were pretty connected in both the commissioner's office and the Players Association. Okay, they said competitive balance was a big issue. What did they do about it?
Right. Well, here's what they did. I'll tell you exactly. When the RSN model was, when we say RSN, it's Regional Sports Network. I remember the day when the Minnesota Twins made us do like a half hour on, they were creating their own regional sports network because they wanted to be like the Yes and the SNY and Nesson. And, that model had grown where there's team-owned cable networks. And the Royals created Victory Sports. The Twins created Victory Sport. The Royals created one. And I could remember Manfred, who wasn't commissioner then, saying how this is going to give the smaller markets a fighting chance. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. Great. And that was fine. They don't have that now. All they're offering these teams that are in the MLB streaming package is a percentage of your $9.99 you pay. That's it. They are getting a fraction of what they made. And so this was a bad thing 20 years ago. It's a worse thing now.
Okay. Going forward, Manfred would love to get everybody to, you've talked about this at length, Seth, on our show, that Manfred wants to get everybody to essentially be under one umbrella. One, we don't think any of these teams will ever give that up. But more importantly, or as importantly to me, is that, now the owners the big talk yesterday was, we've got to have a cap. Well, with the cap comes a floor. And over half the teams aren't spending anywhere near what the floor needs to be, Seth.
And I heard a great interview. Evan Drelich, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The guy from The Athletic. He's fascinating, and future Sports with Friends guest, I'm sure. He did a podcast, and I was listening to it, and he was talking about how he doesn't think a salary cap solves it. And I'm not saying it does. What I'm saying is the system is not formidable for these teams, and I don't mind if you're bad. I don't mind when your team is bad. Syracuse basketball is bad right now. I'd like to think in the next 10 years, there'll be a season where they're good. In baseball, that doesn't exist. The Pittsburgh Pirates do not have a model to compete in a league that has the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're not in the same stratosphere.
That's a bad example to give, though, because the Pirates make a ton of money. He's just refusing to spend it. That's a bad example to give. Now, there are teams in the middle, who are spending $120, $140, $150 million and are losing money, and so they can't spend more. That, to me, is a better example to give.
That's a better example. You're right.
Here's what I actually think is possible, Seth. They need 23 votes amongst the owners. All right? I actually think they can get it. I do, because I actually think that certain
They need 23 votes to get a cap, you mean?
Yes. That I actually think that Manfred could get the 23 votes. It'll be very hard. He'll have to really twist 2 or 3 arms at the end. Then I think it could be an absolute civil war amongst the owners, because I could still see the Dodgers and the Yankees. The funny thing is the Mets don't own their own network. The Mets don't make the money
Mets
you
former
think
owner,
they do.
right?
Exactly. The Mets former owner is still making the money on the Mets. Okay, but all right, then first off, I think we have an absolute civil war, but let's just say there's not a civil war after the owners decide on a cap. Seth, you've talked to the Players Association for 30 years. Has there ever been a moment in time in which the cap was even something they would think about for 3 seconds?
Never.
Do you think they should?
Well, no, because what I was saying before is I don't know that a cap fixes this. I don't know. I think what has to happen is there needs to be even revenue streams. And, the history model is the Pete Rozelle model. The New York Giants and the Chicago Bears in the 1960s they had their own television deals if they wanted to. And Pete Rozelle said, no, you have to go with our deal because everybody has to make the same amount. And Pete Rozelle convinced Wellington Mara to do it. That's to me, that's the only model that works. And I don't think Manfred can do that, because what Manfred needs to do, he doesn't need to convince 23 to vote. He needs to create a world where John Henry and Steve Cohen and Hal Steinbrenner agree to abolish the Yes Network.
Okay, well, here.
And that's never happened.
Well, here, let's combine Rozelle and Goodell, because now it happened under Tagliabue's reign, but Jerry Jones changed the business model in the NFL. He's the one who said if the NFL had a deal with Coca-Cola, he made an individual deal with the Cowboys with Pepsi and all those deals. And he said, by the way, I keep that money. That money goes to Jera. Okay. We do with the league, we divide that up by 32. My deal with Miller Lite, that goes to Jera. And they caved. They changed their rules. Is there some way that Manfred can say to the 6, 8, whatever, listen, we need you to be a part of the team with this, but we can let you keep this for yourself, which only you will get, because there's 15, 20 other franchises that these companies wouldn't make a side deal with.
Maybe, but in order to get them in the room to hear that plan out, David, is the loss of games.
Well, there's no doubt. No, Seth, come on. We're not playing baseball in 2027. We all know that. Okay.
At least not in March, April, and May.
But here's the other part. You're going into all your national television contracts expire after 28. You're going into the negotiation for streaming and broadcast rights for your league from the jump, from the start. coming off a canceled season.
Yeah, but I could almost argue, Seth, that the networks will be even thirstier for baseball. They will have missed it for a year and they'll be begging for it. It's a lot of programming.
I don't know. I think they're going to find replacements. I don't know. This system is so broken. I don't know.
All right.
I listen to the people who cover this, the Evan Dreliches of the world, and I hear it and I go, oh, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine doing 3 hours for this league right now going, let's talk about the Dodgers shortstop position. Come on. No way.
All right, let's talk about the Hall of Fame in a minute because we got to let you get your plugs in. Beltran and Andrew Jones, what are your thoughts on the Hall of Fame vote yesterday?
Well, the voting process is as muddy as ever because Carlos Beltran was involved in the sign stealing scandal. So you're saying the sign stealing scandal is okay when talking about Hall of Fame, but steroids aren't. How do you decide which cheating is the punishable cheating?
Well, there's like 10 to 12% of the voters now are all new, first-time voters, and they're much younger. And for whatever reason, they were okay with, Mark, do that again. By the way, Seth, I can't believe you didn't pick up on it. He's banging on a garbage can. Come on now. You, of all people, should have appreciated that.
I liked it. I thought that was funny.
Okay. All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice.
Or he made a mess. Either way.
Right. You only do one of them a week now because you're a slacker. What are you doing?
Sports with Friends, Kevin Fallness, the pre and post game host for the Minnesota Wild. He's my old producer in Denver, Colorado. So we talk about the old days, covering the Broncos and the Avalanche back in the day. But he also has a very, very disturbing scenario in which the Devils lose both Jack and Luke Hughes, and Quinn signs an extension in Minnesota.
Oh, I think it's very possible.
It's
Billy
very
Garen
possible.
not afraid to spend the
So
money.
Devil fans, don't listen to Sports with Friends.
Well, good, because there's only about 7 to 9 of those. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X. He'll respond in a day and a half at Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best. Thanks.
I'll talk to you both soon.
Boy, we got a lot of digs in on Seth there in the final 20 seconds, and he was defenseless. He's out of time. I'm Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Lively show today in which football has not appeared during much of the show, but it will in 15 minutes when Bud Elliott joins us and we put a wrap on the college football season, although there is a very interesting football topic, which we dove into in a big way last hour. This quarterback from Duke, Darian Menza, who wants to transfer and go to Miami. And Duke's like, dude, you have a 2-year contract. You played last year. You're going to play this year. You told us you were going to play this year. Okay. We're holding you to the contract, $4 million a year. He's like, no, I'm transferring. I can transfer. Duke's like, no, you can't.
Yeah. We'll put a bow on the season, but trust me, we'll get into this because Bud was an attorney before he got into the college football world, 1, and 2, he is incredibly well connected with coaches, athletic directors, and I'm guessing agents as well. So looking forward to Bud's insight in a moment. We have a poll question up today. It is very simply, are the Dodgers good for baseball? And it's a very close vote. I'm incredibly surprised as to how close it is. I thought most of you would say they're bad for baseball. For the record, Miller and Moulton both think the Dodgers are good for baseball. Different reasons. I think a villain's great in sports. And David, as we've mentioned a couple of times, thinks that this will lead to big changes in the sport, which the sport needs.
Here's what I think as to why many more people are voting yes than you thought. There's a lot of fan bases that feel as if we can't compete and the Dodgers are going to force change. And part of the change they're going to force is my owner's going to have to spend some money. Whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to spend some money. I mean, I will say, I think it's criminal what's going on in Pittsburgh.
David, you're so right. Because first off, I mean, obviously my in-laws are all from Pittsburgh, my wife and her family. But that town loves their sports. And they support all of their teams really well.
And it's a beautiful stadium.
Gorgeous.
Conveniently located. I mean, hell, if you're in downtown, you can literally walk to it. Okay? It's a healthy walk, but you could walk to it. All right? I mean, and not only that, that pitching staff can win a World Series. Now, that pitching staff can get to a World Series now. It wouldn't take a lot more money to have the Pirates be the team you don't want to face in the National League playoffs. It really wouldn't.
You know, David, you know what they'd be good in? A short series.
That's an inside joke that goes back to the beginning of Miller and Moulton, okay, in which Mark sarcastically finally was like, so how many games is a short series? 3, 5, 7? I'm like, 7's not a short series, okay? And so
No, you said 7 was a short series.
No, I said 5. I said 5. You're like, 5's not a short series. I'm like, 5's a short series. You're like, not a short series. We went at it all day, and it's been a running joke ever since, along with the, if you ever hear one of the two of us say the answer is Kevin Durant, because Mark Miller asked me the question, Blake Griffin or Kevin Love, and my answer was Kevin Durant.
By the way, he was right then. He's right now. And I guess the last one would be if David asks me or I ask him, "Are you sure?" Because this is 15 years ago, and we're doing our NFL picks, and it was Chargers or Chiefs, and I went Chargers, and I said it emphatically right away, and David went, "Are you sure?"
Sure. And there was no hesitation. I barely got the question out, and he looks at me like, "What was I, indecisive? Was I not decisive enough? Are you sure?" Yeah, hell yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, that's our 3 long-standing inside jokes. Are you sure? Kevin Durant, and well, it's a short series.
So we'll get into more college football with Bud Elliott, but you all know this, but probably don't know the number. But so far in the NFL playoffs, we have had 15 fourth quarter lead changes. 15. Not to say these playoffs have not been intriguing.
And that's in 10 games, right?
Right.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's amazing. Not to mention, after, last year's college football playoff was this year's college playoff was tremendous. Right to the final game. Right to the final damn drive. Carson Beck's moving down the field trying to get his team to win before that interception. By the way, he's taken a lot of grief. The whole not shaking hands, that has got people bothered. I wondered if they would be as bothered, and I'm serious when I say this, David, if he played for someone else.
I also think it's his, he didn't have the best reputation in terms of being he didn't have the he's a good dude reputation. In fact, if anything, he had the he's a bad dude reputation.
Yeah, he's a bit of an a-hole. Yep.
Right. And so his last moment in a college uniform was him not being a good sport. Meanwhile, tremendous Fletcher for Miami and Mendoza for Indiana, hugging one another and talking because, they're both South Florida guys and knew one another, but also just the respect they had for each other.
But Fletcher then took a swing at the Indiana defensive lineman, too. So there was the good and bad with Fletcher.
Although it's the Indiana defensive lineman, Fletcher looks bad. But if you have the audio from what the defensive lineman said, you can understand why Fletcher was upset.
Well, and Fletcher was pissed at him during the game, too. Something happened, whether he went out a knee or Fletcher didn't like the way he was tackled or something that happened in a pile, because Fletcher got up pointing at him second, third quarter. I don't remember which. So there was things going on throughout that game.
Right.
All I'm going to say is, look at this. And there's no one that adores the handshake line in the Stanley Cup playoffs more than me. There's no one. You may enjoy it as much, but there's no one that respects it more than me. I play golf. I play a lot of golf. I respect the sportsmanship of finishing your round and shaking your opponent's hand. I do. So this kind of goes against really the way I think and the way that I raise my children. There's something about Miami being Miami that I don't have any problem with. Okay? I'm sorry. Miami is Miami. And if they're going to Miami, I just have to throw my hands up and say, well,
Right. Okay. We don't want them to be Larry Coker's Miami. We want them to be Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson's Miami.
Yes. Yes, we do.
And I know they won the Natty under Coker, arguably the best team in the history of the sport. But, Larry was very well behaved and a gentleman and a very nice guy. And there were other coaches from Miami who didn't give a damn about any of that.
And trust me, having, a lot of Georgia people in my life, one of which is my son, and we talk all the time, and he is a huge sports fan and knows football far better than I do. And it ain't close. The kid knows ball. I can do this job a little better than him, but Jake knows ball. And the minute it happened, the minute he threw the interception, within seconds, I get, Carson's going to Carson.
Yeah,
he was shooting hard for Indiana, too.
Yeah, there's a few fan bases that were actually pretty happy that Beck was the villain at the end. I wonder, by the way, if he had led them to the game-winning drive, how would that have affected his draft stock? Because, I mean, he is a tall, strong-armed, experienced quarterback. I mean, if he puts some loft on that ball, I don't think the safety's getting there in time personally. I don't. All right. If by chance he threw that ball into the end zone with loft and it's the game-winning touchdown, do you think of him differently as a draft prospect?
It's possible. I do think, and many quarterbacks have this. Under duress, he panics and makes bad throws, makes bad decisions. And that goes back to Georgia. It goes back to his time at Miami. I mean, this is something that's pretty consistent with his game, David.
But not in the semis against Ole Miss.
Nope. The stock was rising.
Didn't make the panic throw against Ohio State. But Elliott,
your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, this may get me in trouble with everybody in here, but I'm going to say it anyhow. I think first off, I will preface it by saying he's good. He does a really good job. He's a good entertainer. When Southwest Florida going to get over the Ben Allen band thing? Do they have? I mean, I've seen them a million times because we hire them for an event at our club. They mostly play covers, don't they? He's really good, but he gets treated like the Beatles down here, and I don't get it. And again, I think he's excellent. Excellent. I love musicians. I would love to be a great cover band, but I find it weird the notoriety that they're still getting. That's just me. Am I a bad person? Probably.
What band is this?
It's the Ben Allen Band. He's a local guy. He got on The Voice. He's good, but that was like 3 years ago, and he still gets treated. I mean, like they had an Everblades night for him, like he's the Beatles. He's a cover band guy, I thought. I mean, maybe they do some originals, but they're not signed by anybody. Cinder back in the day, now Soapy Tuna, and most everybody's left, they got signed. They had videos. They were getting radio play across the country. That's a band to me. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Sonny, I didn't think the reporter was out of line at all. By the way, Carson does still have to take classes, but he doesn't have to take a full class load since he's a graduate student.
I didn't have a chance to yesterday. I had stuff to do, mostly play golf. I'm going to do it today. He's laughing over there. When's the last time he's made a sales call? That's what I want to know.
I've actually made a couple. I'm not.
Attaboy. See, look at the pressure I give him.
I'm not doing well.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Bud Elliott will join us for the final time this season. We'll probably talk to Bud a couple times during the spring and summer. And then hopefully he's not sick of us and he'll come back again next year. You know Bud, Cover 3 podcast, No Cast, CBS Sports, 24/7 Sports. Follow him on X. Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. So what do you think, Bud, will be the legacy that Cignetti and Indiana is going to leave with this sport? Do you think it's just going to be viewed as a Cinderella Disney movie season? Or do you think that the way he is conducting his business very differently than a lot of other programs is going to cause a change into how people are running their programs?
Wow. Okay. So that is a great question, actually. I think a couple things. I think that Cignetti and this team and how he runs Indiana will be looked at as somebody who looked at wildly changing market conditions. Right, like the third full cycle of the transfer portal, plus NIL, the kind of the flattening of the talent at the top of the sport, and by that I mean like the best teams in college football now are nowhere near as good as the best teams from maybe a decade ago. Right, that like that Joe Burrow team for LSU or 2020 Bama are clearly a touchdown better on a power rating standpoint than Indiana is, and maybe like 10 points. So I think it's going to be looked at as a guy who did a really smart thing with how the talent distribution and dispersion in the sport was changing. And that was, hey, we don't necessarily need 10 draft picks to win a national title, right? If we get an amazing quarterback, which obviously they got one in Mendoza, did a great job scouting him, we can pair that with a bunch of veteran players who are talented, but maybe not like NFL freaks, but who don't make mistakes and they play clean. And from just like a rating standpoint, we don't necessarily need to get to a 35 power rating to win a national title. We could take the whole thing home as a team that's rated like a 28 or a 30. And I also suspect that, this is not cheating type thing here, but I do suspect that we will find out that Indiana probably embraced new technology faster than some other teams did. And that's a total guess on my part, but like how well they scout, how many tells they seem to have on you. If I had to guess, I bet you that they are probably embracing some of these new AI mapping technologies of film that are just able to scan the film and find differences in how you do motion, how you switch your stances up on something, like your formation tendencies and whatnot. And it's just, it gives you stuff that you just couldn't get even if you had 10 former coordinators on your staff breaking down film all week. They don't have the manpower and the time to do that. So that part of the story, I haven't seen that out there yet. But I know there are companies pitching products like this. And when I was watching them in this playoff run, I was like, oh, I bet you they're an early adopter of technology for scouting as well.
All right. One, how sustainable is it for Indiana? And two, if you're one of the other, 50 some schools that are Indiana-like, and we don't have to name them, but you know who I'm talking about, because their fan bases are going to want to do what Indiana has done. What would you tell those fan bases, and is it sustainable for Indiana to remain, and I'm not saying 16-0 national champ, but to remain a college football power?
I think it's sustainable to remain as a college football playoff contender. A team that is consistently contending to make the playoff, because Signetti clearly is an elite coach, right? And they have great institutional buy-in from their big boy donors, but also how many new donors and people who will help contribute to their roster payroll did they just secure for at least a decade of goodwill, but based on this national title run at Indiana. So I do think that there is some staying power. If I was another program, I think you're like, guys, if you follow this Indiana blueprint, it's not a guarantee, but it does mean that it is very doable. This is possible now that we can do things like this. That we used to be a lot of these blue blood programs. Honestly, you could run them pretty poorly, and they still just had such a high floor because of all the institutional advantage. And now a lot of that is gone. So I think, guys, we have a lot of upward mobility here. We're going to need the NIL donations to come in. We're going to need to make a good head coaching hire. That's on me as the AD. And they had the number one pick in the draft, a quarterback who won the Heisman, and that does help a lot. But ultimately, we can do this too. I think it gives so many more fan bases hope.
I was impressed by a lot that they did, but I think I was most impressed, Bud, by the fact that, man, they played so well seemingly every single time it was a big game. I mean, they didn't have a clunker. It's tough. Coaches talk about it. It's tough to be up for every game. They destroyed the teams they should have beaten by 10 and 15. They beat them by 40 and 50. And then in the big games, not only did they win them all, but outside of at Penn State, they played well. Every big spot, they played well. That's coaching, man. Even Nick's teams didn't show up and play great. Kirby's teams don't show up and with a B+ or better effort every time. That's what impressed me, Bud, that they maybe had one game in which they played below a B+.
I agree with you. I think it's also like a team that is truly on a mission, right? People doubted them. I'm sure the whole y'all didn't belong thing narrative coming out of last year's team, which is kind of silly, right? Because if you kill a bunch of bad teams, that actually is generally a sign that you're a really, really good team. Like it's very hard to flukishly destroy a bunch of iffy teams like they did last year. But I think that's probably part of it too. And you're right though. Like it is coaching, and they would find your flaws and just hammer you on those flaws over and over again. Like I was so impressed. It was a wild team to watch. Like they had a lot of answers all over the place. I mean, Miami was kicking their butts with its D line, and they just really kind of understood what they had to do, which was just lean into this nonstop RPO and you know, 4th and 5, they call a QB like a QB draw, and pop it to have the go ahead score in the national title. Like it was such a cool run to watch.
No doubt, and that play will be remembered forever in Indiana lore. You brought it up before the Oregon game, the contested catches. They did it again against Miami. I loved how they tackled as well. I don't recall them having a missed tackle in the game against Miami, and that's really hard to do. But let's move on to the story we've been talking about a lot today, and that's Mensah, the quarterback from Duke, who is going to stay and then is now going to transfer, and now Duke's suing. Bud, you've got a lot of contacts in this sport. What are you hearing about this? Is a contract a contract? Do you understand that? We're still in the Wild West, and I don't know when we're going to rein it in, but you know, a lot of people listening want to know, is a contract a contract?
So a contract is a contract, but what are you contracted for? And that is really at the heart of this issue. Like this is not really employment law or labor law, because these schools do not want to be employers. They don't want to pay, you know, insurance and workman's comp and benefits and things like that to these guys. And they don't want these guys to have the protections of being an employee. And so they contract them for their use of their NIL rights, which is not necessarily something that binds you to a specific school. So then when you have a kid decide to transfer, you're in this really weird spot, because the schools want to have their cake and eat it too. And I think there's a bit of this from the player side as well. They're both just trying to maximize and shield themselves from liability under the current rules. So when the kid wants to leave, you're like, oh, you can't leave because we own your NIL rights. And the player's like, well, yeah, that's what I gave you. I didn't give you my playing on the field, because I'm not contracted to do that for you, because I'm not an employee, remember? So Duke got their TRO denied yesterday. They were trying to prevent him from going to the transfer portal. That got shot down pretty quickly. I anticipate that he will go to Miami. And like Miami will probably have to pay, I would guess here, that's just a guess, but we'll probably have to pay like the full buyout to Duke.
Well,
right?
but I've seen reports where he doesn't have a buyout.
So are they saying that they paid him only out of NIL, or like because there's a rev share buyout typically associated with these?
Right. Like I saw where the kid who went from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, that was $1 million. That Williams, when he wanted to leave Washington, he had a buyout. Might have been why he went back. I've been reading that Mensah doesn't have a buyout, specifically a buyout.
So that Duke, we're saying Duke did not tie a rev share buyout to this?
That's what I've been reading. I could be wrong. Okay. But the other interesting thing is you're saying he signed a 2-year deal with Duke, but that's only for NIL. It's not for playing.
Correct. Because like the schools desperately do not want to be employers here, or at least most of them don't. A couple athletic directors now are saying, hey, the juice might not be worth the squeeze on this. We might just want to stop all the headaches and just make these guys employees as opposed to pretending that they're not employees, right? Now, I think most schools are not on board with that. I think most schools are still willing to like just complain and like bitch and moan about this. But yeah, I right now they're not employees, so they're not really under employment contracts.
And we've been for them being employees, Miller and Moulton, for a while, but I don't know where you stand on that. But the other side of this, and I don't know how much effect or any reasoning this has, but this is one to us that the conference commissioner should be getting together trying to figure something out. They don't seem to be on the same page with this either, do they?
No, they don't. And I think the ultimate solution is probably making these guys employees of the conference for a variety of reasons. That this makes a whole lot of sense. It would be hard to have like guys who are a member of a union like work for public and private entities, right? Which obviously some of these schools are, but obviously all the conferences are private. So if you make all the kids employees of a specific conference, and then maybe you have an association of conferences, right, that forms your upper division or whatever, that's probably one of the cleaner solutions to doing it that I've heard. But no, I don't think all the conferences are on board.
So essentially, these multi-year contracts, the only value to them is any sort of buyout. Like the word was Bryce Underwood signed a 4-year, $12 million deal with Michigan. Whether he did or not, that was the word. But he was considering transferring when the coach left and decided to come back. And I guess legally he could have transferred. Mensah has a 2-year deal, but, well, he really doesn't, is what you think the ruling will ultimately be, right? That the only value in the multi-year deal is to potentially get buyout money.
Right. So 2 things here. One, the buyouts are actually a pretty good deterrent for the player transferring if it's a rev share buyout. And by that, I mean, most of these top schools are spending like 17 or 18 million of their money on football. Okay. So if you have a buyout of $4 million, from your rev share money, so not from your outside NIL, but from the actual rev share money, that's the money that's governed by the House settlement. So there actually are some rules, some teeth, some framework to doing a buyout with that. And so if you do that, one thing you get here is, for instance, like with Williams at Washington, if he had decided to go to LSU, that was a $4 million revenue share buyout, like under the House settlement, which is that big case we had, remember? So LSU would have had to pay Washington $4 million, and it would have had to come out of LSU's rev share. And that means it actually comes off their cap for next year. So LSU's rev share amount that was actually allowed to spend would have gone from, let's call it 18.5 to 14.5. And so that actually is kind of prohibitive because, sure, you could find a way to make up that extra $4 million in outside NIL, but it's a lot more hoops you got to jump through, and it's a real pain in the butt to do that. And certainly, you're not going to start doing that with multiple players per year because all of a sudden you're going to whittle your rev share cap, down to almost nothing. So we are seeing some deterrent effect when the buyout is specifically attached to the rev share side.
All right, I'll put you on the spot. 30 seconds. I don't want to say who the next Indiana is, but Texas Tech's turned it around quickly. Give me a team or two that you think could really turn it around quickly in college football next year.
I'll give you 3 from the Big 12. Houston, they signed the number 1 quarterback in the country in Keyshawn Henderson. I like the portal class a lot, and I think Willie Fritz is a damn good football coach. I think West Virginia's done a really nice job. I think they'll be back to respectability pretty soon. And honestly, Oklahoma State. Like importing the best parts of that North Texas team and finding some money and getting some outside pieces as well to come there.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a real flip around in the Big 12 as far as who's really good. With the exception, I still think Texas is the best team by a mile.
Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, Cover 3 podcast.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local glass doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, A-Jappy, and Viraggio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Spits it. Yeah, I don't know if ironic's the word, but, does make you chuckle. Is there a different N-word? Because I've never said it in my life. I got to shave, did I? Oh. I will say, though, he's not getting like that committee that took up, I think he got 3 or 4 votes and he needed like 11 or 12. I mean, he's not gaining support. Like Mattingly's actually gaining a little bit of support amongst the committee. Dale Murphy is not.
Not at all.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's the Diamond District bonus hour. Final hour of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We've had 2 dominant topics on the show today, baseball and college football.
How about that?
Baseball, I mean, we started off talking about the Hall of Fame results, but we transitioned into our poll question. Are the Dodgers good for baseball? Yes or no, which got us into, talking about the divisions within the game, et cetera, and the fact that when I looked at the story, Mark, last night, that this was an exclusive breaking news, that the owners are furious with the Dodgers and they're definitely going to seek a salary cap. There was a part of me that said, weren't they definitely going to seek a salary cap before they signed Kyle Tucker? Am I missing something?
I always thought it was Manfred, and I know he gets his orders from the owners, but to me, it was always Rob Manfred, the commissioner, that had been pushing the salary cap quietly because he didn't want to make too many waves with the owners and the union. But that's why I thought there was a little more there, David.
When he did discuss with the players, and he meets with every team at some point during the season, and there was the infamous meeting when he met with the Phillies in which Bryce Harper interrupted him and ended up being nose to nose with him and basically said, if you're talking about a salary cap, you can get them out of our locker room. So, and Rob Manfred was like, yeah, I'm the commissioner. I'm going wherever the hell I want. So anyway, and then the other topic is, we find it fascinating. We just got into it in great detail. If you missed it with Bud Elliott, and if you missed Seth Everett and Bud Elliott last hour, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. They're 2 pretty interesting interviews. We kind of, I don't know if call them hard hitting, but we talked real substance in both, one baseball, one college football, in which we discussed this Duke quarterback, Darian Mensah, who on the one hand signed a 2-year contract with Duke and midway through it said, yeah, I'm going to honor the 2nd year. And then on the final day that he could leave via the transfer portal, he said to Duke, oh yeah, by the way, I'm leaving. And Duke's like, you can't leave. You signed a deal, $4 million for this year. And you publicly said you were saying in mid-December. And Mensah's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to Miami.
And of all of the things that Bud said, and I don't know about you, David, but to me, the one thing that stuck is that if these buyouts are tied with revenue sharing for the university, the money they're allowed to spend by the university with the players, part of the House settlement agreement last year, well, that seems to be where the substance is. And it certainly seems, if it were me and I'm running a university, well, any big-time player that I sign to an NIL, hell, any player I sign to an NIL, I might tie that rev share in. Certainly my big-time players, my my star quarterback.
Well, there you go. You might do it with your big time players, because if you sign everybody to it, then you're literally limiting how much money you can spend. You can only spend what the house agreement says you could spend. The big thing that I took from our interview with Bud, as you pointed out leading into it, listen, he's got a law background, but he's as big of an insider as really you can have in college football, et cetera. And he flat out believes that Mensa's got a clear path to Miami.
Yep.
That he said, I expect Mensa to be at Miami when this is resolved.
So it is ugly and unseemly, but, a lot of you have been texting the show, and the text line's open, 21,000. The keyword is Miller. Our text line brought to you by Pelican Roofing of Florida. But I still go back, one of the texters says it hurts the fans. You got to find me fans that are hurt by this. Indiana just won the national title. Indiana. Asked Bud at the end of the interview, give me some schools that could be the next Texas Tech. I didn't even say Indiana. Houston, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Found that one just ironic because someone in the chat room, whether it was the YouTube or Twitch chat room, at some point today said, I don't even see where Oklahoma State's ever going to win again. Well, Bud just told you they're going to turn this around quickly.
Well, and they're going to use the Indiana method, in which Signetti came and brought 13 JMU guys with him. And the new coach at Oklahoma State's bringing the best North Texas team in years and bringing a bunch of those guys with him.
And as a fan of a have-not school, and I'm an alumni of Michigan State, we're a basketball school, wish we were a football school too. But as someone who's a fan of a have-not, if you will, Indiana did more in the last month, to me, for the have-nots than's ever been done before. Well, if they can do it, why can't we? And I said on this show when the whole NIL started and it looked like it was just going to be the big boys with the most money, I wondered out loud if my school would ever play in the playoff again. And they were lucky enough to get there once, and they got whacked by Bama. But I really thought that was it, that I'd never in my lifetime see them in a playoff. Indiana makes me think that it's possible. And whatever school it is that you root for, if it's not a big boy, tell me Indiana didn't make you think that it's possible for your school. Hey, maybe not to go 16-0. And sure, we'd all love to see our team win the last game, but the joy you get out of a great season. I've become, pretty friendly with the guy who's a Nebraska fan. And I mean, he loves all things Nebraska, and he's having a ball watching their basketball team right now. But when you corner a Nebraska fan, there's only one sport that they want to be good in again. It ain't volleyball and it ain't basketball. It's football. Well, if you're a Nebraska fan, don't you look at this and say, well, we can do this?
Okay, by stature, they're the Sacramento A's, Indiana, before this little run here. They're, I don't know, pick the team. The Marlins have won 2 World Series, so that's why I didn't pick the Marlins. The Braves have been to 2 World Series, or the Rays, excuse me, that's why I didn't pick them. I mean, I don't know who Indiana is on the baseball analogy scale, but from a payroll standpoint, Indiana was not the Dodgers, the Mets, all right, the Yankees, the Phillies, but they weren't the 15 teams who spent less than $150 million either. They're probably, would you say, Mark, that from a payroll standpoint, that the Indiana Hoosiers were somewhere, remember that story we talked about earlier where if baseball were the NBA, the cap would have been 180, the floor would have been 162. The Cubs, the Angels, and the Red Sox were in between. I mean, I think Indiana would have been the Braves. The Braves were the last team that spent more than the cap. My understanding is Indiana is in. They're spending money. They're not spending Ohio State money. Don't even know if they're spending Michigan money, USC money, Oregon, but they're at the top of the next tier. Money is what they're spending. So if that's the case, then, what's your analogy like in baseball this year? Is it the Braves? Is Indiana really the Braves, but with no heritage? Was this the Braves before 1991? Is that what just happened? I mean, and now that we're in a salary cap era, you look at the NBA teams. I mean, what are they? Are they the Atlanta Hawks? I mean, what just happened from a financial standpoint, not from a legacy? We all know they were at the very, very bottom of their sport. But payroll, they're not.
No. Baseball-wise, I'm going back. This is kind of, and the Tigers never won the last game, but it's when Illich tried to spend with the big boys, and they had Scherzer and Verlander. And I guess it's one of my teams, so it was easy to think of. That was kind of where my brain went.
So, yeah, that 2006 through 2013 run of theirs.
Where they great call by Sonny in the chat room, the Padres.
Okay.
That's a pretty, because they're not a heritage. Actually, that's an excellent call, because they're not a heritage team. And they've gone out and spent the money.
They're 8th in payroll, by the way, the Padres. Okay, last year. And
I like that. I like that analogy there.
Yeah. And the Padres, by the way, continue to, they're not cutting back. Now, they don't have a lot of money. They've made a couple of cuts around the edges, but I mean, they ain't peeling it back. So that's what just took place. But Mark, it does beg the question, when you look at your school now, if we're staying with the baseball analogy, are you looking at your school? And I'm not just saying you with Michigan State.
Yeah, no, I know what you're. Yeah.
Are all the fans now looking at their schools going, hey, man, I'm not asking you to spend, like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets, but the Padres just won the championship here. You mean to tell me we can't get in their area code?
And, it's a 2-year process, because look at Indiana. Last year, they weren't spending the money. He brought all his James Madison guys and did it with a group that no one expected. And then they were close, and they went, ooh, we're close.
Right.
We can push you over the cliff, as they say, and take this to 11. And they did.
Right. They were the Brewers last year.
Right. And then
this year they said, no, we're going into the top third.
Exactly. And that's the other part of this. And that's, why when Bud brought up Oklahoma State, maybe they, with the North Texas team, get much better than they obviously were last year and put an 8-4 up there and go, all right.
Right.
What do we got to do to take the 8-4 to 11-1?
Right. Then they look around and we go, we know T-Boone's dead, but how about some of the rest of you? It's time.
Got to be someone else that moved to Texas and made some money in the oil business. Give me a call.
Come on now. It does make you wonder, though. Couldn't Arkansas do this? I mean, I know it's a really tough conference to do it in. Yeah, Indiana just did it in the Big Ten.
Hey, if Ole Miss did it, and I know they've got lots of money, but come on. If Ole Miss can do it in the SEC, can't Arkansas do it in the SEC?
I mean, come on. Walmart money? Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Did you see Baker's post? I'm just seeing it, so it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But that Ledbetter, who's a great writer for the AJC, covers the Falcons as well as anybody covers any team, put a post out saying Falcons Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. Baker responded to it. Failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Game on.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Puck, do you think Lubbock, Texas is a paradise? I mean, it's all about money. I mean, Saban had the best comment in the world when he thought the northern teams had an advantage by paying. You couldn't get anybody to go up north unless they paid. That's funny. By the way, Bloomington might be nice, but I don't ever hear people running to Bloomington, Indiana. I've never been, so I can't say.
I mean, I know, and I won't say negative because it's not negative. You like to be very contrarian. I just think, to me, you're wrong a lot more than you're right on things. You take a lot of stabs, and that's fine. That's what the chat room's for. But you love to be contrarian. Sometimes I think without thinking your contrarian statements through. No, you guys can do whatever you want. But I'm just saying, I'm not, you got mad about us saying negative, and I'm not saying negative. You're very contrarian to whether it's our comments or just sports in general all the time. That's fine.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts, maybe a pick or two. Coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question, very simply. Are the Dodgers good for baseball, yay or nay? Is it still 50-50?
Thereabouts. I think I think the nays are up a little bit, but
gotcha.
54-46. So, I mean, basically 50-50 all day. It's never been more than 55 all day, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
On one side or the other.
So it means it was a good question.
You love a 50-50 question.
Well, anywhere between 55-45 both ways. That means that, it's a good question. It's a good sports talk radio debate discussion question.
Text line has been very active today. A lot of opinions. Whenever you bring up the portal, which we've spent a lot of time talking about the Duke quarterback today, Mensa, and people have their opinions. Like this gentleman. Dear NCAA, give an inch, they want more. I'm sorry. We all supported the fact that kids should be getting paid in college. By the way, no, we didn't.
No.
But to get paid a lot of money as a college student and pick the school because of the money and then not put your best effort forward, where's that? That's take two that I totally disagree. To be given the right to enter the transfer portal if the situation doesn't fit, you are egregious at best. I don't know. You accepted a job selling parts for Company A. You and the boss didn't really get along. Company B has an opportunity for you to do the job for a little bit more money. Do you leave or do you stay in a situation that wasn't best for you? I don't know. I have holes in your entire text, and you text a lot, and I love you folks texting. But I can't just simply agree with every text we get. And the fact that you start out with that we were all supporting the fact that they should get paid, are you kidding me?
Miller and Moulton
to agree for 10 years on this show because we were the first two. We were ahead of most national shows. I don't even recall many national shows, David, that had the same philosophy. Some did, but not many thought that the kids should be getting paid. We always did. And you didn't like us for it.
No, you thought we were jerks. I mean, Ted, it was
scholarships enough. They get a scholarship. I mean, right. Come on. We heard that on the air. We heard it out in public.
Listen.
We didn't have text lines then. We heard it from the callers regularly.
Hell, 3 years ago, it's still whenever we'd poll it in some way, shape, or form, there were more folks who thought that the scholarship was enough. I mean, maybe in the last 24 months, it's now that they should get something besides the scholarship, but there's a lot of people I know that wishes we could turn back the clock. Go back 5 years.
Yeah, most people that I know, most people that I deal with, in my personal life would take NIL in the transfer portal out tomorrow if they could.
They like the old way a lot more. Now they're still watching, obviously. We haven't gotten the ratings yet for the title game, have we? I don't think
Probably tomorrow, I would think.
Maybe late today, yeah. So be curious, because obviously semifinals have been less than the quarters 2 years in a row. And we had Ohio State and Notre Dame in the championship game last year. So I'll just be curious year to year how Indiana Miami does compared to Ohio State Notre Dame.
David, we love a little angst on this show.
Oh, yeah.
We thrive on it, as a matter of fact. And a guy we like a lot seemingly has some new angst. That's Baker Mayfield, the Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback.
Ooh, I like Baker with a chip on his shoulder.
Orlando Ledbetter, who is a spectacular writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, reporting on Stefanski, said in a post on X, Falcons' Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. QB Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts, linking to his article. Baker responded to his text. Failed is quite a reach, pal, which I'm on Baker's side there. He did beat the Steelers in the playoffs, right?
I was going to say an 11-win regular season. They won a road playoff game.
I'm sorry.
He brought them back from the abyss, and they got pretty good again. And, they were only slightly below average when they bailed on him. And that was the year he played over half the season with a torn left shoulder.
So failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text/call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. All right.
Here we go.
Because, Falcons Saints is certainly the oldest rivalry in that division. And Bucks Panthers genuinely don't like one another. But the last couple of years here, we've thought it was, and I know Carolina won the division this year, and that's because Tampa screwed it up. But Tampa and Atlanta have had a little thing. They've been the teams that have been fighting for the division, have the ones thought of as having the most talent. We'll see what Carolina does next year. I think when we pick the new teams going to the playoffs, I'm guessing a lot of you are going to have Carolina out, rightly so. But can't wait to see it twice a year, coach. It's not as good as Ben Johnson saying he's going to can't wait to beat Green Bay's ass twice a year. But I'm into Baker with a little angst.
So the first time they play next year, if Tampa Bay wins, does Baker make a beeline to Stefanski and give him the Ben Johnson treatment?
Would love it. I would absolutely love it. We don't like all this angst in life, but Miller and Moulton love it in sports. We love it in sports.
What's interesting, though, is Baker's beef is really with the sports writer. He didn't like the fact that Stefanski didn't reach out when they traded him. Okay. So he felt disrespected by Stefanski. Okay. But I think his bigger beef is with the sports writer.
Well,
no.
He said quite a reach, pal.
But that was the sports writer's definition of, how Baker was in Cleveland. He called Baker a failure in Cleveland.
Right. But that's just failed is quite a reach, pal. Then everything else is about the coach. Still waiting on a text call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. That's not at the writer, David.
Nope.
That's at Kevin Stefanski.
That's true.
Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Again, that ain't at the writer. So I'm in. Monday Night Football. Falcons, Bucks. Start talking to people, David.
I don't think that's what they want week 1. I can tell you that
I didn't
right
say
now.
Week 1. Week 3 or 4?
Yeah. Week 4, that'd be pretty good. Okay. I'd prefer it in Tampa for obvious reasons, but
But it's an easy flight if it's Atlanta.
It is very.
You know, I mean,
Very.
several times a day. You never have to worry, and you don't have to worry about the most dreaded words in travel.
Delta
Atlanta
Atlantic connection.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, I still think it's Chris Fowler's best line. It's a long ago line now. He was hosting game day. That's how long ago it was. But listen, Bucks had a rough day yesterday. Baker gets disrespected, and Mike McDaniel chose the Chargers because the thought was he was going to choose the Bucks over the Eagles.
And Dayball getting interviewed in Philadelphia. I know he's obviously going to be considered for the Buffalo head coach.
Right? That's what we
By
think.
the way, are you buying any of this Belichick to Buffalo talk?
No. But who would you hire if you needed to get over the hump in the NFL? You've been good to very good, but you need to be great. I mean, seriously. I mean, is it outrageous if Josh Allen's going to be 30 this coming season? I mean, is it outrageous to give him a 2-3-year deal? Chase Shula's record and try to get us a ring?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yes, it will, Sonny. And you got a great recruiting class, and they are fully invested there. Fully. Sonny, I don't think Baltimore would ever be an option. More because I just don't see him with the GM and owner. Maybe I'm wrong. Where the Buffalo thing, Pagula, I don't know how he operates. I don't. Depends on the owner, Canada Relief. It really does. No way in Pittsburgh. They'll hire someone young. Look at their history. They've never hired, they've hired unknown guys. I think, Shula to Pittsburgh. I think someone like that. I do not see Pittsburgh hiring an old established coach. It doesn't meet with how the organization works.
Yeah. Apparently they wanted me to leave immediately. An hour.
Do you need to go now? Go.
No.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, and we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. If you missed Seth Everett and Bud Elliott last hour, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. You could do that with any hour and any segment of the show.
That's one of our best with Seth. And not that Seth's interviews are bad. That's one of the best chats we've had with Seth, though, in a long time.
Yeah. No, it's very substantive. Very informative. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even bring up the Devils once.
No, in fact, we did.
Exactly, to give him grief.
Right.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1887, that's where we start. The AAU forms in 1887. We'll skip 90 years ahead. Today in 77, President Carter pardons almost all Vietnam War draft evaders.
Yeah,
the height of disco today in 78. Saturday Night Fever, the album by the Bee Gees, goes number one. It would stay there for 24 weeks. Drugs. Lots and lots of drugs. Today in 79 at the Orange Bowl, one of the great Super Bowls. Steelers 35, Cowboys 31.
Controversial pass interference call in that game was a tie game. All right. Benny Barnes and I think it was Swan tripped over one another. Legs got tangled. They called pass interference on Barnes. And Steelers, and that was the famous Jackie Smith dropped the touchdown pass, and Vern had the first of his epic legendary calls in which he said, "Oh, he must be the sickest man in America."
Two things from 84, both musical. Yes, the prog rock band goes number 1, their only top 10 ever, with Owner of a Lonely Heart. Good song, by the way. And Bon Jovi's self-titled debut album with the single Runaway was released today at 84. 1990, John McEnroe becomes the first player to be expelled from the Australian Open.
Yep. He said something under his breath that the referee heard, and I guess it was his third. He had already been given 2 warnings, and so McEnroe got disqualified. First one ever.
Bill Cowher becomes the head coach of the Steelers today in 92. Only the second head coach since Noel in 70. They've only had one since. They'll get another coming up here in the next few weeks. Pope John Paul II makes the first papal visit to Cuba today in 98. After 7 decades as the world's largest automaker, GM loses their title today in 09 when Toyota reported more sales in the 2008 calendar year. 2010, Kobe becomes the youngest NBA player to reach 25,000 career points. He beats Wilt by 35 days. You do have to put a little bit of an asterisk next to it, though, because, well, Chamberlain went to college and started a few years later. If Chamberlain would have gone directly to the NBA, he would have had him by what? 60, he averaged 30 some a game, right, for his career. And early, it was even more.
Yeah, you got to figure
3,000 points a year almost.
Yeah, at least 2,500. So 5,000, 7,500 more points. Yeah.
Right. Today in 2018, almost Jags fans, AFC Championship. The Patriots topped the Jags 24-20.
By the way, Brady in an interview recently came out and said the officials got it wrong. The Miles Jack, the fumble. Okay, because that game's over. The Jags are up 10 early fourth quarter. Okay. Is that what we're talking about? Same AFC Championship?
Yeah.
Patriots, Jags? Yeah, Jags are up 10 early fourth quarter. Patriots, big pass play. They're getting in scoring position, but the Jags hit them, fumble. Miles Jack picks it up. By the way, honestly, it should have been a touchdown, Jags. Jack, he picks it up, goes down the sideline.
Right.
Okay. They ruled it down by contact Patriots ball. It wasn't. And obviously, nobody from New England tackled them. But, even if the Jags get the ball there and they don't give them the score, the Jags probably win that game.
Long list of people that would have been celebrating birthdays today. We start with Stonewall Jackson, Rasputin, Georges Vezina, who the Vezina Trophy is named after, designer Christian Dior. Everybody get a sucker because it's Telly Savalas' anniversary of his birthday.
Who loves you, baby?
You got it. Comedian Benny Hill, Coach John Chaney, Wolfman Jack. Many of you know him maybe as a singer. I know him as an actor in North Dallas 40, Mac Davis, and software guru Paul Allen. Jack Nicklaus is 86 years old today. Placido Domingo, the opera singer, one of the 3 tenors, he's 85 years old today. Singer Billy Ocean is 76. To say songs were a little different then, his big hit, Get Out of My Dreams and Into My Car. Yep. Yeah, he had others too. Gina Davis is 70. So is Robbie Benson. Yes, from One on One.
Wow.
A staple in the 80s on HBO at 10 a.m. Hakeem Olajuwon is 63, and goaltender Jonathan Quick is 40 years old today. What did I miss, David?
I don't think you missed anything.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Ontario for the good, where an escaped pet parakeet was reunited with her owner after the bird made a stop in the kindergarten classroom and landed on a little girl's head. The St. Noel Catholic School in Wasaga Beach said on social media that the parakeet found her way into the classroom and landed on a girl's head twice before being contained by the teacher. It was taken to the school office and then reunited with its owners. For the bad, we'll come back to Lee County, where Jesse Freeman was arrested by the narcotics tactical team, being accused of trafficking over 2 kilos of cocaine. On a traffic stop, they found the Peruvian marching powder in the back seat. Finally, the ugly, more cocaine in Florida. Shocking news, particularly this day. 1980, not so much. Today, you don't hear about it as much. But a Florida charter boat captain was arrested on Monday after deputies said he was selling drugs that he found at sea. Detectives bought a kilo from Bradford Picarello on Monday for $10,000. It investigated and led to a seizure of 23 kilos of cocaine, his boat, some cash, and a gun. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 21st, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Looking for new officers. Other jobs are available. All information can be had at capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
So if you're into hockey, 6 games in the NHL tonight. The TNT doubleheader at 7 and 9:30. Early one, Mark, you'll be all over. Wings and Maple Leafs in Toronto. And the 9:30 game is Islanders Kraken. 2 teams that don't get a lot of national exposure, that's for sure. TNT with the hockey double dip. ESPN with the basketball double dip. NBA, I can't believe this first one is actually the one they're broadcasting. Cleveland at Charlotte at 7 o'clock.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
How many times have the Hornets been nationally televised this decade thus far? Cleveland, Charlotte at 7, OKC and Milwaukee at 9:30. College hoops tonight.
No system plays.
Nothing. 0 zips, nada. We only got 5 games involving ranked teams. All the ranked teams are home. 2 of the ranked teams, however, are undefeated, and there's only 3 of those left. 18-0, number 1 Arizona. 9 o'clock on FS1. They're hosting Cincinnati. And then, boy, this is a good get for the Big Ten Network. 18-0, number 7 Nebraska. 9 o'clock on Big Ten Network hosting Washington.
Vegas still not really buying Nebraska because it's 12.5, but they're at home. They're undefeated. Washington's, they're a 500 team, basically. I mean, that is to me, for an undefeated team at home, that's a rather low point spread. In fact, of all the ranked teams tonight playing, it's tied for the lowest point spread on the board. Both North Carolina, who's hosting Notre Dame, and Nebraska and Washington, 12.5. Gonzaga, the biggest margin, they're a 30.5-point favorite against Pepperdine at home tonight.
By the way, Hubert Davis starting to get a little bit of grief in Chapel Hill. Tar Heels in danger of falling out of the rankings. They're 22nd. And seemingly when they play a good team, they don't win. And they've lost a couple that they shouldn't have. So I'm very interested tonight, Mark. ESPN 2, I believe. North Carolina hosting Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not that good. 7 o'clock. They're okay, but not great. So I'll be curious what happens.
So not a great college basketball night tonight, as it's, usually this time of year you get a few more big games. Kentucky playing tonight. They're just sputtering along. A few others out there, but those are the games with ranked teams. We will start getting in to conference championship weekend tomorrow on the show. On Friday, Pat Kerwin will join us in his usual spot, but David Sampson will make a guest appearance. Don't know how often we'll be getting David going forward. He has a lot going on in his personal life and just can't fit us in anymore. And obviously, we totally understand. We both, text with David on a semi-regularly basis, and he obviously misses the show, but with what's going on with his family, he has much more pressing needs than essentially doing a show for nothing for us. So, doesn't pay to be a guest on Miller and Moulton, basically.
Never has, but it'll be nice to catch up with David Sampson a bit on Friday after we talk the 2 conference championship games with Pat Kerwin on Friday. Be curious if a few more people get hired today, because we still have the 6 NFL head coaching vacancies and 3 marquee ones in Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and now Buffalo. Buffalo, I don't know that it's going to happen anytime soon. I think owner and GM scheduled to meet with the media tomorrow in Buffalo.
They're doing a little damage control in Buffalo right now first, too. Basically blaming McDermott for the talent on the team, Bean trying to say it was him. So you're getting a lot of that right now as Brendan Bean's now in control in Buffalo. So if, we had John Scott on our show yesterday who thought they fired the wrong person. So we'll see, what other news comes out of Buffalo today, because there's a little bit of, to me, David, a little media damage control going on in the Buffalo PR department.
Oh, no, I think there's a lot. And every Bills person I know, and almost all of them were in favor of getting rid of McDermott. Amazingly so, kind of like what we talked about, where they were giddy in Pittsburgh when Tomlin walked away. And to most of us outside of Pittsburgh, we're like, what? But Mark, all of the Bills people I know who were fine with them moving on from McDermott, when they read the release about basically now Bean is the power and we're promoting him, and they're like, wait a minute, you sided with him over McDermott? No. Listen, I'm fine with you moving on from McDermott, but him? No. Wait, I'd rather if you'd fired him than McDermott.
And, also the question I asked of my Bills friends is, so how long does this guy have until he gets in a Super Bowl? And they weren't even giving him 3 years.
Wow.
They want it, and they want it now.
Can't ask for a lot of patience with fan bases that have never won it. Never mind the fan bases from teams that have never even been.
Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? MillerandMoulton.com or anywhere that you download your podcast. Have a great rest of your hump day. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, Ajapi, and Veragio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.